Jajang! Hello everyone! Welcome in tonight. Welcome back to Cafe Enchante. We're going to continue Ignis's route tonight. Let me make sure... Everything behaving? It's been misbehaving tonight. Model tracking has really been misbehaving tonight. Okay, I think everything looks okay. Yeah, so we're going to get back into Cafe Enchante tonight. I know we started Ignis's route. This was on Saturday. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I know we started a little bit of it. I'm fairly certain we went out for something and there's an alleyway and for whatever reason we were really awkward with each other and Rindo's like, you two should skedaddle along home now. And we're like, oh, yes sir. So I think that was what we ended up with last time, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Whistle. Oh, don't freak out. Oh yeah, Minotaur. Oh yeah, the Minotaurs were showing. Okay, yeah. See, we've got stuff going on. I remember, obviously. I remember. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump back into it. I'm really looking forward to this because, okay, I'm looking forward to this in anticipation for Miser. Not that I don't like Ignis, but Ignis is alright. You know, we're chill. He's just not usually the type that I would pick for Notomi right, you know? He's perfectly fine as a character though, and I appreciate Yuki Ono's voice acting. Okay, so this was after our Minotaur alley run-in a few days later. Although the Minotaur's sudden arrival took me by complete surprise, thanks to Ignis's quick reaction, it was handily incapacitated in no time, which saved us a lot of trouble. We managed to catch everyone up to speed on what had happened, but it was just a mere coincidence after all. And therefore, no one made anything of it. At Enchante, it was business as usual, a vibrant but peaceful day. One day, once upon a time, as I was preparing a batch of drip coffee grounds based on a rare type of Hawaiian Kona beans, I stood while listening to some of the bright chatter occurring throughout the cafe. Some of the guests occupying the cafe at this time were the Demon King, the Beast, and Kororo and Karia. My boys. Karia and Kororo observed as the other two played a heated game of poker.
Full house. Ignis, そっちは?
What do you have, Ignis?
ワンペアね。ってことは、はい、また俺の勝ち。次のコーヒーもイグニスのおごりね。
Miser would definitely be the one to be like, oh, let's bet on a game of poker. And he literally, I'm not sure if you have to literally have cards up his sleeves, but at the very least, I feel like he would be the master at either cheating and or walking the gray line of cheating. At the very least, observing his opponent to be able to make assumptions and stuff. I don't know how to play poker. I should learn how to play poker. I don't know how to play poker. Haha, you're 5,000 years too early to be challenging me, youngster.
なんか適当な力使ってこっちの手札覗いてんじゃねえだろうな。
いやいや、覗くまでもないって。
Yeah.
君の顔がそりゃも
It's
う
poker
分かりや
face.
すく手札の中身を教えてくれますから。
Gotta practice your poker face, Ignis.
これでイグニスの8連
Eight.
敗。
Oh, that's rough, buddy. Maybe you should consider raising the white flag. I placed a pot of freshly brewed coffee in front of Miser. It was hard not to burst out into laughter at the witty exchange. Judging by how things were panning out, it seemed as though Ignis would be the one to foot the bill for the coffee. Well, I'm pretty sure Miser has an unfair advantage here.
まあね、立場的にも心理戦の一つや二つ軽くこなせないと。
Miser put his lips to his mug, taking a moment to partake in a victorious smile before claiming his hot, caffeinated prize. Ignis, on the other hand, stewed in his resentment, staring angrily back at Miser before asking me a question. I literally just said I've never played poker before. I don't know how to play poker. I know how to play blackjack. I like blackjack. I don't know much about I don't know how to play poker though. I couldn't help from tensing up at the mention of Ignis's inquiry and Kotoro's affirmative cry. Me?
そういえばそうだね。いつも観戦してることの方が多いかも。
You want me to play poker?
この際だし、ちょっとイグニスと対戦してみれば
Oh my god.
結構いい勝負になるかもよ。
That's so mean, my sir.
おう、俺は構わねえぞ。ま、
Yeah, I
Yeah,
win.
maybe
I
I'll
won.
make
Don't
it.
go easy on me. Teach me first, though. I searched for an appropriate response. I wouldn't mind playing, but just don't be too disappointed, okay? We're gonna be really bad at poker, aren't we? Or are we gonna whip his ass? I got nothing. We're gonna be really bad. This is all right.
2ペア。
No pair.
1ペ
No pair. Again. Both Miser and Ignis gazed at me sympathetically, quietly collecting the scattered cards without a word.
なんていうか。
I'm just not meant for gambling. That's why I play gacha games.
強く生きて。
I have a different kind of gambling. I'm strong. Thanks. Karia tapped me lightly on the shoulder. I could have imagined it, but it seemed like even Kotaro pitied me for my defeat, despite knowing nothing at all about poker.
あははは。これは駆け引きとかもう関係ないよね。
Yeah.
手札の切り方はなかなかだったけど、肝心のカードの引きが悪いというか。
Lady Luck does not favor thee.
お前逆にすげえな。ここまで役が揃わねえやつ初めて見たぞ。
I told you not to be disappointed. Right. I've never been able to opt for games in that. I've never been one to opt for games that involve chance. I can play things like board games, but
前からちょっと不運気味だなと思ってたけど。
why are you calling me out?
ここまでとは思わなかったぜ。
You put the miss and misfortune. Ah,
お前
thanks.
大丈夫か？外に出るだけで車にひかれかけたり、詐欺にあったりしてねえだろ。
I've survived this long. It's not that bad. Just as I was about to challenge his silly notions, the clock rang, signaling evening. However, the lives who live in the cafe, along with anyone involved with running it, were largely unaffected. My only real duty was to put away the sign and tidy up the cafe. After those tasks, I had all the free time I wanted until it was time to prepare dinner. I can read. What should I do after this? Maybe I'll take a walk to the market for groceries. As I stood there contemplating. Kotaro! You're so cute! Kotaro? Although it was unclear to what exactly Kotaro was reacting, he started flapping flippers and tail atop the table. Yes, you're excited. I can't just take you with me. Kotaro, you know I can't take you with me. Unless the, whatever thing Miser does makes it looks like a... What's the word? It makes it look like you're a little dog or something. Then I'll take you with me. Oh no! Stream, why? OBS, why do you show me the red square? I do not like the red square. I am not a fan of the red square. The red square means we're buffering. Why are we buffering on a wired connection? We're gonna keep pushing through. I hope it turns green again. Huh? But he usually naps or hangs out with Karia. Is something the matter?
今日はたまたまそういう気分なんじゃない？連れてってあげれば。
We can
ぬ
do
いぐ
that.
るみのふりでもさせとけば、不審な目を向けられることもないでしょ。
Okay, now be quiet, Kotaro. You can't make any noise. Okay. I guess you're coming with me, bud. If I had to guess, maybe Kotaro wanted to explore places other than Bestia for once. Do you promise to be a good boy, Kotaro? You're gonna be a good boy? That cut out on my end? I can only imagine what Stream heard. My question was met with energetic glee. But it was impossible to tell whether or not he really understood me. That rhymed too.
んじゃ、留守は俺たちが預かるよ。いってらっしゃい、二人とも。
Bye. You two. Out of reflex, I made eye contact with Ignis, at whom Miser appeared to give a knowing smile.
おい、なんで自然に俺までカウントしてやがんだ。
You're gonna carry my groceries for, aren't you? Aren't you, Ignis?
ね、だって万が一コロロがはぐれたら、君の鼻ですぐ終えるでしょ。
Definitely.
君はコロロを拾った本人なわけだし、保護者責任はきっちり果たさないと。
He does this, and I'm pretty sure he just does it because he gave me like a hard time jokingly. But in every route so far, Miser's been the wingman. Like, to be like, you crazy kids, go have fun. Shoo, skedaddle along now. But then later on in the route, he'll be like, what are you doing? Excuse me? I'm pretty sure he only does it to harass. I think he does it just to harass us. Just to tease us because he finds that funny.
誰が保護者だ、誰が。
Chaperone us. Oh my gosh, Kororo. My ears. Luckily for Kororo, he was in the perfect position for a display of affection. In his particular case, a headbutt. He gently struck Ignis's elbow, which was resting on the corner of the table. His beard.
うわ、痛そう。
Right in the funny bone, didn't
指の
he?
隙間に角入ったよね。
Ouch. Contrary to Ignis, who clutched his elbow in agony. Poor Ignis. Kororo glanced at Ignis, his eyes sparkling with trust and admiration for Ignis.
こいつはいつまで経っても加減ってやつを覚えねえな。
Well, it is a killed or be killed world out there in Bestia. That's how Kororo expresses affection. Couldn't seem mad at him even if you wanted to. By the looks of things, it seems like Kororo wants you to tag along with us. What do you say?
あったよ。わかったから。
Just
追撃の構えを取るんじゃねえ。
Ganbaru Ignis. If Kororo were human, one might have thought he was locked in a crouching start? What? Oh, like runners before they sprint? And crouching start, he was ready to go. After spending the last minute or so rubbing the small, fuzzy creature's head, Ignis stood from his seat. And off to the store we went. Though we had no destination in mind, Ignis, Kororo, and I set off on our walk. Oh, we're just going on a walk. I thought we were getting groceries. Are you excited, Kororo? I held the wiggly, crying Kororo in my arms as we trekked around town. I had a hunch that Kororo wouldn't be able to handle a large crowd for too long, so Ignis and I made an agreement. It felt more sensible to explore openly, stopping only if something caught my eye. If I liked it, I'd buy it. Simple as that. Then we made our way to the road's edge. That's a car. It helps you move fast. The slew of passing automobiles caught Kororo's notice, to which he responded with an inquisitive cry. Oh, Kororo! It's okay to cry now and then, but could you please keep it down? Shh, we gotta be quiet.
わかってんのがわかってんの
I hope. One can only hope. He understands.
こいつどこまでこっちの言葉を理解してんだろうな。
You know what? That's true. I wonder the same thing. He's fairly responsive, especially when we're talking, so he must be cognizant. Plus, he quieted down when I asked him. Maybe he possesses some understanding of our thoughts and feelings? Oh yeah, isn't Kororo capable of learning mimicking human speech? Like a parrot? Oh no, is he going to start talking to us? It's been a while since we've tested him. I wonder what other words he knows besides our names.
そういや、他は聞いたことねえな。俺らが知らねえだけで、大体のやつの名前はもう覚えてんじゃねえの
Indeed, let's test him a bit. Kororo wore a curious expression as he curled up in my arms. So I asked him to say, Okay, Kororo, repeat after me. We're gonna say Ignis. Ah, no! No! These are not the options I want. I want to say Ignis. We're saving in case this is important. Let's say Kaya first. Kaya! Last but not least, were we supposed to go in order? Last but not least, let's try Karya's names next, Kororo. Kororo's so attached to him. Okay, Kororo, can you say Karya? Kyururu? Karya. Karya. Oh. Oh. It almost sounds like he has a lisp. Oh. 10 out of 10 for being super adorable.
んだよ満点って趣旨変わってねえか
Regardless, seeing Kotaro put forth effort in learning our names earned him a nice belly rub. Guess that confirms that he's warmed up to all the regulars now. I only did Karya's. I wonder if that was miscoded in... I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna roll with it. Now if you get along with Dromi... No, he does not need to get along with Dromi. He can run off Dromi for all I care.
それは無理じゃねえか
Mm.
あいつが来店するたびもの
A
すごい
good reason, because I don't like him. Kotaro is on guard. I appreciate him. True. I wonder what it is about Dromi that Kotaro can't seem to stand. I wonder what it is that Dromi's done. What about Dromi can't a person stand? A lot of things. It'd be easier to name the things that it would be easier to name the things I do like about him than the things I dislike about
あい
him.
つのうざさとアホさを本能で感じ取ってんじゃね
There
え
you
か
go.
まドローミ一匹嫌ってる程度大したことじゃねえだろそれで問題を起こすようなやつでもねえし
Agnes was sure to note. However, Agnes was sure to note, however, how headbutting Dromi didn't count as a problem. Ah, yes.
あ
It was happening again. Ignis picked up on a scent in the air, halting him in his tracks. Ignis, what's the matter?
いや匂いがなんつうか
What do you smell?
あどっちだこれ車のガスの匂いと混ざって分かりづれ
Is another Minotaur. Ignis squinted his eyes, trying hard to make out objects far into the distance beyond the road. Had he found something? Just as Kotaro and I look ahead. A familiar roar. As soon as I gasped, I was met with a familiar scene, where vehicles soared through the sky and dominated by periphery. Townspeople began to flee for safety. Straight ahead of us, the creature swatted at nearby cars, taking menacing, fearsome steps. Steps? Steps! Steps, I believe is meant to be. Steps before food prep. Oh, we've got a gaggle of them. We've got a whole gaggle of Minotaurs. Minotaurs? We're outnumbered.
はまたかよ
They're back. They're bipedal. The Minotaurs had us cornered. I mean, sure. They had likely been waiting for us the whole time. The Minotaur's hooves clopped on the pavement as it charged towards us.
しことねてめえはできるだけコロロを連れ
Lee,
て離れ
time
とけ
to run. Okay. You can be sure. You're sure you'll be okay. Oh my gosh. You're sure you'll be okay though, Ignis. Unlike last time, they're more than us. You might not be able to do it all on your own.
心配すんな分かってるたけめっとくせえ場所に
And these are just cows.
急に
Don't
どう
worry about them. I'll kick them out. Don't worry about it.
とにかく人間の被害さえなきゃ道路や建物は林道が何とかすんだろ
What a wonderful growling noise. While Ignis delegated some of the dirty work to Rindo, the Minotaurs were gaining speed as they charged at him. For better or for worse, it had seemed as though the Minotaurs were blind to anyone but Ignis. Ignis clenched his fist, bracing himself for a retaliatory strike against the Minotaurs, plural. But before the Titans could reach Ignis,
騒がしいですね。せっかくのイベントを邪魔しないでいただきたいのですが。
were you guys following us? What are you doing here, Eel? A white shadow emerged from the video game shop. Oh! He was out doing his own thing. A radiant chain of light materialized, which was used to round up and restrain the beast. Ignis watched it all unfold, letting out a light sigh as he stepped within range of the light. You stole my thunder! Still gonna beat him up, though. Ignis had literally sank his opponents into the asphalt in an instant. The chaos had yet to settle, but as far as I could tell, everyone on our side would emerge from this unscathed. Plus, the change which strangled them belonged to our local fallen angel. It was. Ill! That chain of light belonged to you. How was your magic?
以前にもお見せしたものです。あの程度の個体であれば動きを封じることは容易かと。
This is no problem for me.
挨拶と説明は後にしろっての。
Poindexter.
人間ども写真撮られる前にその羽とっとと消しやがれ。
ああ、そうでした。また林道に叱られてしまいます。
It's just cosplay, don't worry about it. It's just cosplay. He'll scan the area around us for any civilians before tucking away his wings.
二人とも大事ないか。人の多い店内だったのでな。出遅れてしまいすまぬ。
It's okay. From out of the very same game shop where Il was browsing emerged Canis, as imposing but gentle as ever.
あ、カネス、てめえもここにいたのか。
なあ、我はいるの付き添い
He
で。
can't go out by himself. He's gotta have a chaperone too. Canis responded matter-of-factly, unlike Il, whose eyes immediately lit up.
今日はこちらのお店でとある乙女ゲームの発売記念抽選会が行われていたのです。そして見てください。なんとカヌスが引いたくじでポスターが当選したのです。
まあ、そういうわけなのだ。頭数としての付き添いをな。
I stood beside Ignis, whose jaw looked unhinged from exasperation. I, on the other hand, called a Rindo. Okay, I updated Rindo.
なんつうか、お前も手慣れてき
Why do we call him Rindo here? But we call him Mr. Rindo, literally throughout the entirety of his route. Maybe it's just a translation inconsistency. A localization inconsistency. And not that it's meant to be proud of.
いる。ひとまずこのアルムムたちの姿を隠せるか。さすがに人目を集めすぎている。我らの存在はごまかせたとしても、アルムムたちへの対処は難しいだろうからな。
了解しました。一時的ですが光の屈折を利用しましょう。
Il approached the constricted minotaur slowly, readying the spell he prepared. Then,
おや
oh yeah? After peeking into the minotaur's faces, Il tilted his head.
イグニス、アルムムとやらはこのような濁った瞳をしている
Maybe
魔
they're
女
old
で
and
した
they
で
have
しょうか。
cataracts. Both Ignis and I peeked into the eyes of one still conscious minotaur, although Ignis seemed not nonplussed. Is that another word? I'm googling this. There's so many typos in this game. It makes you second guess yourself if this is actually a word. That's another word. What's with this? They add so many, like... There's a good handful of fancy vocabulary in here. But they can't take care of their grammar, their spelling, or, like, a sentence structure for the life of them. You know, maybe this is like they just pulled out their thesaurus. They're like, oh, we gotta make this sound cooler. We need to make this sound, more, mature. So they don't structure their sentences better. And they also don't check their spelling. But they just, you know, slap in some thesaurus words. Although Ignis seemed nonplussed about it. By the way, hold on. I just looked at that and I totally forgot it. It left the memory cache immediately. Calm, collected, and not... Oh my gosh. Calm, collected, and unconfused is plussed. So... oh my gosh. Plussed. Non-plus... Sometimes people use non-plus to mean something like nonchalant or unbothered. Okay, so he is unbothered. He's calm and collected right now. Then... As expected, the beast resorted to grunts. Its eyes began to bulge from its skull, giving me the impression that they could pop out at any second. Yikes. As Kororo trembled in my arms, I couldn't help but follow suit, letting out a whimper. This is not normal. My intense panic, thankfully, was mitigated by an incoming call I received. I pressed answer with the intention of distracting myself from that wicked gaze. Hello? Rindo. Thank you, Rindo. Okay. Rinda's voice quivered with slight worry. Did something happen at the GPM? You know, like a type 2 fox shadow goo creature covering and killing a good portion of the staff. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. Just if it potentially could happen, you know, for instance, right? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Nothing to do with that. Okay, sorry. That was such a weird example. I don't know why that came to mind, but yeah, Bestia for sure. Ignis reached out his hand toward my phone, meaning he overheard Rinda's remark. Sure.
Oi, Rindo.
Ignis put the phone to his ear, speaking in an uncharacteristically hushed tone. Rindo, however, seemed unbothered with that Ignis had taken the phone to discuss the matter with him himself. Imperative. Importante. Scene fade. We left the task of loading in the Minotaurs to the GPM, Kanis and ill. Not to mention Kororo, who seemed tired. Ignis and I made our way to the headquarters of the GPM. Rather than being escorted by Rindo himself, a gang of agents welcomed us in. We entered the elevator, which took us deep into the underground facility. Oh, this is the wormhole. Back with you again. Mikado and Ku. Hi.
GPM もとい究極の天才たる僕が作り出したホールの前
Yes, hello Mikado. Hello.
このフロアに来るのは初めてだろうさあもっともっとじっくりねっとりと僕の成果を鑑賞し褒めたたえてくれたまえ
Mikado continued to wax poetic about his invention. But I needed no preface of his to be completely captivated by the misshapen space, the wormhole. I sat in the middle of the room. This is the GPM's famous wormhole. I vaguely recall Rindo describing it to me in the past, but seeing it with my own eyes was something else entirely.
一応気をつけて。特にこれ自体は害はないけど、繋がってる先が先だからね。
Rindo cautioned us with a furrowed brow. To my side, Ignis grew impatient.
おい、こっちはこの変人の自画自賛に付き合うために来たんじゃねえぞ。さっさと要件を話しやがれ。つってもまあ、大方そこの牛肉どもの話に決まってんだろうけどな。
Meat slabs? Is that what you're calling the Minotaur now? Something caught Ignis's attention. He was in the corner of the room. He stared intently at a line of large cages, the inhabitants of which growled at Ignis. Upon closer inspection, they were... What? More Minotaurs. There's a group of Minotaurs. Thick chains restrained them to their cages. Several Minotaurs comprised their ranks, both bipedal and quadrupedal alike, trying to free themselves from imprisonment. Why are there so many Minotaurs here? I mean, they don't seem like the Minotaurs that attacked us earlier, do they?
まあ、そこにアルムムがたくさんいるのはそのままの理由なんだけどね。そこにいるアルムムはみんなここ数日でホールから落ちてきた奴らで、それを GPM が捕獲したってわけさ。
Who's pushing them through? Why are they coming in?
てめえらがベスティアで捕まえたわけじゃねえのか。
おや失敬な。アルムムに関してはすでに研究済み。それをむやみやたらに捉えたりはしないよ。だけどね。
Dakedone. Mikado raised his arms, waving his white coat in the air as his voice trailed.
帝明、要求された魔獣のデータを各種揃えておいた。
Clutched in his hand was a thick dossier. Someone whom I assumed to be Mikado's assistant exited from the elevator.
おお、ナイスタイミングだよ、ジョシ君。それをイグニス君に手渡してくれたまえ。それから彼女にも。
The assistant did as instructed, passing the folder to us without a word. Surely enough, he went off into the corner of the room, observing us silently. And just watching us from the corner creepily, no big deal.
手元の資料を見れば、ことの重要さは理解してもらえると思うよ。
I eyed the contents, thrilled by my curiosity as I flipped through the pages. Known Bestian Minotaur locations. One page had a map and several red markings.
おい、まさかこれ、この全部からアルメムが出てきたって言うんじゃねえだろうな。
そのまさかだとも。そう書いてあるだろ。
Ignis, can you read? You can read, can't you, Ignis? Mikado coolly shrugged, and Rindo picked up where he left off. Oh, perfect. I would much rather talk to you anyhow.
個体としては弱いやつばかりでね。うちの職員でも対応できたけど、君たちが捕獲したような一回りでかいアルムムが現れたら、さすがに殉職者が出そうだよ。イグニス、君、アルムムたちがどうしてるか調べさせたんだろう。
Rindo's request got a tense response from Ignis, who raised his eyebrow.
確かに妙な報告は聞いちゃいるが。
Ignis briefly explained to Rindo what he knew about the case of the vanishing Bestian Minotaurs.
なるほど。時期的にも無関係とは思えないね。
僕としてはもう少し詳しい話を聞きたいところなのだけど。
情報はドローミからだ。話を聞くってんなら、一回俺がベスティア
Should I head back to Bestia real quick to drag its ass over here? You want to talk to him? I can go grab him like right now if you let me go through. Just want to make it a nugget an agreement.
おっと、呼んだっすか？俺ってばナイスタイミングで来ちゃった感じ？
Hi. Dromi. It was Dromi, sporting a winning smile as he emerged from the wormhole.
あれ、 なんか勢ぞろい。店主さんまで。じゃっす。時間的には晩はすか？
Good evening. Drum became frolicking over to Ignis' side, perhaps sensing that the latter had mentioned him.
これもしかして例のアルムムの件すか？
You've stolen my luck, haven't you?
めっちゃタイミング良くないっすか？アンシャンテがもし閉まってたらと思ってこっち優先で報告しに来たらドンピシャでみんないるとかラッキーっす。
You gotta turn to face Drummy.
イグニス君と同じく僕らも彼にこの一件の調査をお願いしていたのでね。せっかくだ、一緒に聞くとしようじゃないか。
Ignis and Rinda both nodded in turn, instilling a level of confidence in Drummy I've never seen.
おお、なんか俺頼られてる感じ？任せてくださいっす。
Drummy had a moment to organize his thoughts, inhaling deeply before beginning his report.
兄貴に報告した後、俺もアルムムたちがおとなしいのがやっぱどうも気になっちゃって、あの後も結構いろんなとこで聞き込んで行方を調べたんすよね。で、ベスティアの奥も奥、かなりの辺境に向かったっていう証言をつかんで、俺も行ってみたんすよ。そしたら
Then, his demeanor changed. We all scooted closer, noticing his shift in mood. The air in the room became tense. Knowing he had our undivided attention, Drummy revealed what he saw.
なんもわかんなかったっす。結構苦労したんすけどね。ほんとすっげえ僻地でなんもなくて、いやーめっちゃ暇だったっす。
Mm-hmm.
あれ、どうしたんすか？ここは
You built it
よ
all,
く調べてく
all
れた
for
な
that.
とか、俺が褒められる流れじゃないっすか？
Drummy blinked, awaiting a response. Ignis was the first to react as he...
ドロミ
a smile.
はいっす。
死ね
Gave him the iron claw.
あっつだだ
You could have just told us up, just point blank. You had to build it up for nothing. Ignis did all of us a favor by inflicting his judgment upon Drummy.
特に分かったことはない。というのが現状のようだ。
No, hold on real quick. I'm going to go grab something. I'll be right back. My model is not having a good time. Did not like me leaving, coming back. Okay. Need a little bit of pep. I keep yawning. And it's only 9 o'clock. Not that late.
くそ、このアホトラに1ミリでも期待した俺がバカだったぜ。
けど、事態はそこまで生ぬるい状況じゃない。何かしらの異変があってもおかしくないはず。
Jeremy brought himself back to his feet, responding to Rindo's speculation with a point of his own.
あ、変わったことって言ったら、俺がホールに落ちたとか、そんな格好悪い話しかないっすね。
You mean this wormhole?
はあ？いやーだからホールに俺落ちちゃったんすよ。アルムムとはまた別の他の魔獣に追いかけられてる途中にうっかり。
何をどんくさいことして。って、待て。
ちょっと待った。ホールに落ちたって。じゃあなんで君、ここにいるの？
Miranda was quick to pick up where Ignis's thought trailed, interjecting with a look of genuine surprise. Oops. Don't touch that. It took me a few seconds to understand the meaning behind his trepidation. Oh, that's right. If the wormhole is not set in a fixed secure location, then whoever travels through it can control where they land.
ああ、彼がこうしてこの場にいること自体、奇跡というか、おかしいことだ。それに、先ほど君はこのベスティアにつながるホールから出てきた。ますますわけがわからないね。
え？あー。
Jeremy was speechless, perhaps from still wrapping his head around the concept. He stood in confusion, then...
本当だ！え？あれ？俺、めっちゃ普通に人間界に。つうか、アンシャンテのあるあの町にピンポイントで出たから、なんかゲートと感覚間違えてたっつうか。そんで俺、やべえ、もう一回調べなきゃーってちょいってここまで来て、そんでさっきまで普通にベスティアにいて、で戻ってきたんすけど。
What? His response was even more confusing. It was unclear if he understood anything. Then something clicked, so I took another glance at the marked map. It dawned on me. These locations look familiar. In fact, look. The known locations surround Enchante. Ignis was aghast as he processed the flood of information confronting him.
ベスティアで行方不明のアルメムが代わりと言わんばかりにあの町にやたら出現してやがる。
Which must mean... Do all the wormholes in Bestia connect to that town?
え、じゃあアルムムたちがガンガン湧いて出てくる理由って
Is somebody opening the wormholes versus them just being a natural occurrence? That's highly possible.
ありえるな。俺は人間界じゃベスティアほど派手に暴れられねえし。
Yeah.
あいつらにとってはこっちのが有利な環境ってのは疑いようがねえ。
It was hard to accept at first, but after the amount of violent minotaurs we encountered went beyond coincidence, it seemed too logical to ignore. The revelation seemed to catch Mikado off guard, as he found solace by cuddling a stuffed animal he kept nearby. Yeah, stuffed
困
animal.
ったね、クーちゃん。これはベスティアのホールを詳しく調べる必要があるかな。
それと、アルムムたちの行方というか、根城もね。このペースで人間界に来られたら、対応にも
No.
限界があるよ。
Tracking. Why? Don't. Hold on. Hold on. It's like my camera decides to keep timing out, and there's no reason for it to do that. Nope. We lost the abyss now? We might be. Hold on. This is upsetting. Try again. Nope. Well, fuck. This is upsetting. Here. I guess we'll just have to... That... We'll do that. Damn. Okay, we're gonna do our best. Since my camera does not want to work and turn on tonight, we'll be a little stationary. Unfortunately, I lose a little bit of my own character, but it'll be fine. We're going to continue forth with this just to play the route. Let's see here. Don't forget we must find the Minotaur's location and their hideout too. At the rate they're coming, we can't contain them all.
ところでジョシュ君、君の視点で何か気になることとかない？
皆無と返答しよう。加えて私の業務はお前の人外研究のサポートであり、ホールの分野については管轄外である。
The definition of that's not in my job description. I can't help you.
はあ、せっかく話を振ったのに議論のしがいがないね。
ま、ここにいる牛どもを適当に縛いて事情を吐かせるのが一番手っ取り早いんだが。
やっばい目。どう頑張っても会話できそうにないっすけど。
Are they also cloudy-eyed? Angry. Even I can share in Jomi's reluctance to talk to them. The caged minotaurs were much like the minotaur which ill had subdued. They all possessed vacant, cloudy eyes. They stared fiercely at Ignis, ready to pounce at him a moment's notice when they weren't chained.
大方、闘争本能が振り切れて狂っちまったんだろうな。
Combat instincts? What do you mean insane?
ああ、なんつうか。
They're going stir crazy.
ガキの頃に身内から聞いたことがあってよ。魔獣は激しい戦いで闘争本能を刺激しまくると、正気を失って見境なく暴れちまうんだ。
They just start going berserker mode.
らしいって、兄貴それ。
てめえは黙ってろ。
Shut up, Dromi. Exactly.
はいっす。
おお、その件に関しては僕も初耳だな。
Even if that were true, how can so many of them go mad at once?
それもごもっとも。高速から結構経つけど、全然正気に戻る様子も見せないし。僕の見立てでは何かしら外的要因があると踏んでるんだけどね。
Mikado approached the cages and peeked into the eyes of the minotaurs, without flinching at the monsters who dwarfed him in size.
ま、こんな状態の彼らを返却したところで、またホールからあの街へ
That's true.
ダイビングするだけだろう
I
し。
agree.
しばらくはこっちに拘束し、身体データの調査もろもろで、彼らが正気を失っている原因を調べてみよう。
琴音ちゃんを呼んだのは、この事情を話しておくためなんだ。あの町というか、アンシャンテに住んでる張本人だからね。
I nod affirmatively at Rindo. I had to tell everyone at Enchante too. But I wonder what's happening to Bestie and the Minotaurs. Ignis was silent.
どうも俺が直接連中の縄張りを訪ねる必要がありそうだな。
His statement puzzled me. Huh? Visit their turf? As in, going out to search for them?
ああ、いくら雑魚とはいえ、こう続々来られたらうざってえし。
It's a nuisance.
ホールは俺にどうこうできねえが、連中を見つけさえすりゃ、おとなしくさせることはできんだろ。
アンシャンテや人間たちに被害がいってからじゃ遅いっすもんね。兄貴ってばやっぱりお人よ。
Yeah, shut up, Dromi. Ignis's fists connected with Dromi's head produced a dull thud, the force of which nearly buried his head into his shoulders. But this was typical for them. Rinda didn't bat an eye at the screaming or the cries of agony and continued.
それじゃあ僕らは僕らでこっちのホールから調査班を派遣するよ。
Sounds great.
とはいえ、 危険な地帯には行けないから、結局は君頼りになっちゃうだろうけど。
てめえらと手を結ぶのは尺だが、ま、人手があるには越したことねえが。
Many brains to think together. Ignis scratched his head absentmindedly before turning to face me.
ってわけだ、ことね。明日からしばらく俺はアンシャンテを開ける。ミシェルたちがいるから心配はいらねえだろうが、一応アルムムについては警戒しとけ。
I will do. Okay. I'll be careful. Soon after, Rindo and I went over our detailed plan. Ignis was to depart for Bestia at dawn. Much to his disliking, Jomi was assigned to join him. New chapter? Nope, just fade out. Then, at the hour of first light, Ignis stood waiting for Jomi to arrive so that he could leave without saying goodbye, but I deliberately held him back. The reason being, make you breakfast.
お前な、こっちは一応真面目な遠征なんだぞ。
Yes, and you should be well fed before you go.
それだってのに、弁当を用意するから待ってろとか。
Shh, just take my bento. Yes, I asked him to stick around a bit longer just so I could feed the hungry wolf. Whoa. I did not click that. I handled a frying pan, simmering Ignis's meal as he posed his incredulous question beside me in the kitchen. You're the one who's going to be sorry if you end up passing out from starvation. Am I wrong? It wouldn't be very funny if some other beast were to kill you while you were knocked out.
実際倒れただけに反論でき。
Take your meal and accept it. Enjoy your bento box. See? His mission would last at least a few days. So I arranged a menu. One designed to provide him stamina, and that would be tasty even when cold.
まだか?
His tone was petulant, but I detected a hint of curiosity as to what I cooked him. He didn't seem to rush me. Just a couple more minutes. But promise me you won't wolf it down the moment I hand it over.
わかってるって。
I didn't believe him. I had to watch him, making sure he wouldn't open up the lunchbox until after he entered the gate. But still, it warmed my heart to know that my cooking could still excite him, even in these circumstances. As I added touches of seasoning, I snuck a look at Ignis. He watched my hands intensely, with curiosity and interest. Each time I picked up a utensil or added an ingredient, his eyes followed. The kind of look a puppy would give. Ignis, does cooking interest you?
まあ、そこそこな。俺は雑な飯しか作れねえし。
We should cook
き
together.
っちり手順踏んで作った方がうまいってのは分かってんだけどよ。
So, now that you've admitted to it, do you want to try cooking with me?
あ?
Come on. A small cooking date before you go off on your perilous mission. A savory aroma rises from the pan as the dish sizzles in high heat. As he grabs the pan, you're swinging it too hard. You're going to spill it all.
分かってるっての。
Look at that face. Look at that cute little face. Ignis is just a cute boy. He's just a cute route. If I hadn't guided him, it was likely Ignis would destroy the pan altogether. I started to coach him at every step, explaining each individual technique. The fire's too high. We're not grilling steak here.
おう。
Okay, add salt and pepper to taste. Maybe a bit more soy sauce. Drop a teaspoon's worth in a circular motion. Be careful not to add too much.
待てって、指示が早すぎんだよ。もっとゆっくり教えろ。
If I slow down, I'll overcook.
なんだこりゃ。喧嘩よりよっぽどこっちのがむずいじゃねえか。
Micromanaging my stir fry. Although at first he struggled, soon Ignis began to loosen up.
こうなら意地だ。何が何でも絶対うまくなるよう仕上げてやる。
Yeah, and if it ends up coming out black, we've just got a nice char on it.
よし。次は何をすりゃいいんだ。どんどん行ってこい。
Okay. In the end, he found himself comfortable enough in the kitchen to crack a smile and enjoy the process. After tenacious effort, we began to pack all the food into lunch boxes. Of course, we included the meal we cooked together in the batch.
実際自分でやってみて改めて実感したぜ。
What's that?
やっぱうまい飯は手間がかかってんだな。適当な飯ならあん時に満足できなかったかもしれねえ。じじいに改めて感謝だな、こりゃ。
It seems I accomplished opening his eyes to how meticulous and laborious it could be. By the end, though, he sounded exhausted. I can't help but notice something at the end of his statement that catches my attention. Huh? Grandpa? What are you talking about?
ああ、そういやお前には俺とじじいが。
This is our daily dose of grandpa rivalry?
まあいいか。ここでごまかすのはお前への不義理ってもんだな。
Ignis cleared his throat and began to open up. He recounted the first time he visited Enchante. I was there. Compared to some of the other non-humans at Enchante, I was a newer regular. Unlike Connus and the others who've been going here for what, 10, 15 years? Oh no, I'm in the way. I had only been around for maybe 5. Before the GPM came into the picture, I can't tell you exactly which year it was. I'm assuming that's what it says. But at the time, I was already famous for being the top fighter in Bestia. Every small fry in the land wanted to be the king of the hill, but one after the other, I sent them packing with tails between their legs. I fought, and fought some more. It was a way of life for me. I never went a day without seeing blood. That day started out like any other, but it wasn't. Anyway, I had finished a particularly tough fight when I caught the scent of the spilt blood which was left by my scared opponents. I think it says a bizarre craving began to go rampant within me, festering inside? Yes, that's right. The combat instinct. The thing I mentioned yesterday. Let me tell ya, it hurts. My vision went red, and I began to crave prey without thinking about it. No matter what I tried, it wouldn't stop. After wondering about it for a while. Hold your ground, Ignis. Oops, no. I don't want this on auto. I took all my willpower. I wandered in search of a secluded place as I struggled to stay myself. In the end, I found something. A gate. A strange board, standing in a field of ice. Yeah, it was a gate to Enchante. But since wormholes aren't really a thing that we use in Bestia, I wasn't sure what to make of it at first. I was so desperate to be rid of the craving, I punched the door with all my might, then... Itashai! The door suddenly opened. I came to a place without snow or blizzards. Somewhere completely different from Bestia.
Oh, なんだ若造。お前さんも異世界からの客か?
Someone happened to be standing there. He appeared out of nowhere with a rabid look in his eyes, like he was plucked from battle, even when looking at me.
なんだよ。ずいぶん参ってんな。まあ、客なら歓迎してやるよ。とっとと店内に入れ。
おい、てめえ、何を勝手に。
ははは、威勢がいいじゃねえか。まあそんならすぐ元気になんだろう。
Without fear or hesitation, he dragged me effortlessly into the cafe. And then he set a fresh plate of food in front of me, seemingly out of thin air.
これでも食って落ち着け。イラついてる時にはうまい飯を食うのが一番だ。
飯？
ああ。お前も天使と似たような感じで 飯を知らねえ人外か。
The kind old man explained to me that what eating was and how to do so. He then encouraged me the whole way. Something on the brink of madness, though. It made it tough to appreciate the moment. I couldn't help but take in the savory smell coming from the food. So I did what he said and dug in. Then... food! Flavors! It hit me. As clear as a smack to the face, my senses overloaded. A tingly feeling took over my tongue, complemented by a pleasant texture. All the rage within me instantly began to subside just from one bite. I felt like myself again. To me, it seemed I was so in awe with how flavorful the meal was that it calmed my beastly impulses. A way to a man's heart and to also calm down his beast combat instinct rage is through his stomach. So I made it a point to continue coming out here. Oh my gosh, I made it a point to continue coming here out of appreciation for the old man. That's all.
つうわけだ。料理っつう概念とそいつを生み出した人間はそこそこ
Something as wild as cooking.
大
I see. That explains where you got that appetite. It was such a lovely anecdote.
悪い。今まで黙ってて。
Why are you apologizing? Huh? What do you mean?
あ、いや、過去に正気を失いかけたことがあるって部分だよ。昨日は人事みてえに話しちまった。ああ、なんつうか、ガキの頃に身内から聞いたことがあってよ。魔獣は激しい戦いで闘争本能を刺激しまくると、正気を失って見境なく暴れちまうんだ。
Oh, so you were talking about yourself.
おう、あの流れでお前に知られたくなかったっつうか、うまく言えねえんだけどよ。
That's alright. I could see why it would be difficult to bring up.
そうか。にしても相変わらず俺のそういうの聞いてビビらねえのな。
No? Well, the past is your past. Wouldn't it be weird to be afraid of something in the past? Kotone, that's called collecting data and making an informed prediction. An informed prediction based off of data of the past to see if there's a trend. Kotone-chan, do you know what it means to be observant and to analyze? Not that I want to be scared of Ignis. I'm not particularly scared of Ignis.
あ？なんでだよ。
Not that I think that it'd happen to you again. If and only if you were to succumb to a similar state, all I would need to do is feed you a good meal and you'd be fine, right? It'll be daijoubu. Oops. Was my response insensitive? An awkward silence hovered until...
バカ。
Baka. You like calling me Baka? Hmm? Not like I like you or anything, Baka. In a soft, intimate voice, he responded with a smile and shook his head, and shook my head. For a couple of seconds I was stunned. Not so much from what he said, but from the warmth in his smile, which he somehow transferred into my chest. Nonetheless, it was still awkward. I'm no idiot. I stammered like a scared child. Afterwards, we packed the assembled lunchboxes inside a large duffel bag. Maybe we might have gone overboard. It was possible that I had made too much, especially since there were tiered lunchboxes, but I trusted Ignis to eat it all irregardless.
兄貴、お待たせしましたっす。
Hey, hi, Dromi. By the time we completed wrapping the lunchboxes, Dromi arrived from Bestia, once more in perfect timing. You see this lunchbox duffel? None of it's for you, Drummy. Ignis, don't let him eat any of it. This is only yours. I decide to see the two off, waving to them at the gate on their way to Bestia. But just as Ignis placed his hand on the doorknob, Jeremy let out a sudden sharp gasp. He hastily tapped all over his body, specifically on the outside of his pockets in search of something.
すみませんす兄貴。俺ちょっと GPM に忘れ物しちゃったっす。
Are you kidding me? Ignis like, are you fucking kidding me?
忘れ物だ。
Yeah, what'd you forget? Your brain? I don't think you ever had one to begin with.
ホールを見つけたら落としてこいって博士さんから渡された発信機とかいう変な鉄の塊っす。ってなわけで、俺はあっちのホールから追いかけるんで、 先行っててくださいっす。
Uh-huh. Without bothering to wait for Ignis's response, Drummy sprinted off. And here we are waiting for him. Shaking my head.
あ、ほどら。向こうのホールとここから出る場所がどんだけ離れてると思ってや。
Probably not. Is it that far?
普通に歩いて数日
Ooh,
かかる。
boy!
けどま、あいつがいるとギャンギャンうるせえし、ちょうどいいか。最終的な目的地は。
Ignis like, I prefer traveling alone when it comes to this man. Ignis gave it a second go and put his hand on the doorknob.
んじゃ、行ってくる。しつけえだろうが、アルムムには気ぃつけろよ。
Will do. Right. Watch out for yourself too, Ignis. Good luck out there.
おう、行ってくる。
じゃあね. Ignis curled his lips into a smile that was softer than usual. Then he opened the gate, returning to the freezing tundra that was his home. A few days later. Alright, here's today's lunch special. For the salad, I prepared a special dressing, which I've placed here.
これはちょっと
What's wrong?
困ったかな。
Huh? Is something wrong, Miser? Is there something there you don't like?
いやいやいや、今日も美味しそうだし、メニュー自体に文句があるわけじゃないんだけど。
And...
ことね。我らの人数とテーブルの上に並ぶ料理の量を比
I
較してみて
see.
ね。
Okay, I see. Uh-huh. I glanced around, seeing the array of dishes I'd plated in full of confidence. Soon I realized that it was a monstrous amount, an almost intimidating array.
これは明らかに私たちが普段摂取する食事量
You
を
would be
大
right.
幅に上回っていますね。
Oops, stop hitting that button. Ah. Oopsies. I mistakenly kept Ignis's appetite in mind.
カリア君、君配膳を手伝ってる途中で気づかなかったの？
気づいてたけど、なんかぼーっとしてた。
Karya like,
声かけるのも気が
I
引けて
noticed,
さ
but I didn't feel like now was the right time to point out. Was I really spacing out? Sorry, guys. You don't have to eat all of it.
いや、いただこう。どれも美味であるには違いない。
Thank you, Connus.
だね。食べきれなかった分は夜と
Thank
か
you,
に回せば
Miser.
いいわけだ
I'm
し。
sorry. That makes me feel a lot better. The lunch went on without issue, save for my careless over-preparation. The regulars began discussing Bastia over their dessert, coffee, and juices. I had informed Miser and the others about Ignis's mission with the Minotaurs.
しかし、イグニスがここまでの長期間アンシャンテにいないというのは初めてではないでしょうか。
Is it?
うん、そうだな。今までは長くとも2日おきには戻ってきていたように思う。
That's true.
我らがマスターも
The
一番
hungry
食べさ
wolf.
せがいのある狼くんの不在におじ
Oh, I cut him off. I'm sorry, Miser. Well, of course I am. Isn't it normal to be concerned about long-time guests?
それじゃそういうことにして
Yeah,
おこう
just a
か。
long-time guest. Uh-huh. I wonder what he was implying.
そんなにそわそわしなくてもそのうちあっさり戻ってくるさ。アルムムの襲撃も今のところは頻度としては極小。
That's
対応
good.
もうちの手勢で賄えてるし。
いざ何かしらの危機があれば、 我らもためらわず手伝うが、現状はそれもないようだしな。
True. Ignis will be fine. Ignis was a skilled fighter, one who was sternly against bloodshed. So, not only was I sure he would return, I hoped he would do so unscathed. It's just... the cutscene I purchased for Ignis will go bad if he doesn't return soon. Like Miser said, that we were aware of how sorely his presence was missed at Enchante was unsettling. He's a vital part of the dynamic here. Every passing minute spent inside of the cafe without him around me amplified a dull ache within me. Later that night, I lay bundled in my bed, unable to shake the discomfort. Kororo, come here! You can't feel my kokoro, but I can cuddle my Kororo. Kororo! Oh my gosh, are we actually gonna canoodle with him? Kororo, you look so giant. You look so giant in this perspective. I awoke to the sound of a timid squeak. What's the matter, Kororo? You miss him too? Kororo, who had been snuggled close to me, cried out into the night. It seemed odd for him to wake up at this late. He usually slept throughout the night. I watched him patiently, hoping to understand what he was trying to convey. Oh, baby. That's right. You must miss Ignis quite a bit too, huh, Kororo? I whispered to him softly, petting its fur with gentle strokes as he cooed. Me too, Kororo. We had that in common. I guess I miss Ignis more than I thought I would. I chuckled at the thought. Eventually, since I was wide awake, I changed into a new set of clothes. I held Kororo in my arms, quietly making my way down to the cafe, trying carefully not to wake Kanes nor ill. While down there, I stared blankly at the gate where I last saw Ignis before he left for Bestia. Of course, I couldn't dare to enter on account of my recent traumatic experience. Nearly being sucked in will do that. I could do nothing more than look. I held Kororo gently in my arms, raising him up so that he could get a better view of the room. Kororo, I know you're lonely, but be a good boy and wait just a bit longer, okay? As soon as he's done with his mission, Ignis will be right back here with a big smile on his face. It seemed as though Kororo understood, as he let out an adorable cry, as if he had regained his spirits. Okay then, let's go back to bed. We don't want to get up too late. I turned my back to the gate room and made my way back upstairs. Just then, I heard a door bust open behind me. Before I could react, someone covered my mouth and eyes. From there, my body was forcefully dragged backwards. This can't be. Start screaming! I wiggled in protest, but the assailant locked their arms around me tightly. I couldn't budge. Before I could react, I was flung into the open gate. Into the cold tundra! In my nightgown! How lewd. What pervert drags me out in my pajamas and throws me in the snow?
このような時間帯に申し訳ありません、カヌス。
構わぬが、本当に店から物音がしたのか？
はい。厳密には聴覚だけではなく、店内の急激な気温低下も感知したもので、例えるならば、そう、まるで店の中へ突然、吹雪が入り込んできたような。
気温の低下？吹雪？カリアがいないというのにか？あ、 まさかゲートでまた何かことね。
I got catnapped. I'm sorry, y'all. Where will we end up? It's freezing. I was sprawled on the icy ground, unable to move my body. I had no clue how I was cast into this Arctic world, let alone how I managed to survive the nap. Yeah, that's true. My body, which was in no way dressed for snow, was on the verge of frostbite. A punishing chill caused my body to shiver violently, as if my lungs flooded with ice. I glanced at the tip of my fingers, noticing how they were turning blue, how they were quickly losing sensitivity. And although he had to be fully aware of his actions were mostly futile, Kotaro, who was flying here with me, desperately kept headbutting me to keep me from losing consciousness. I'm glad. Kotaro, you're okay. I'm tired, Kotaro. Let me go to sleep. Oh dear. I could scarcely open my mouth without agonizing from the harsh chill. It seemed we were taken by a mysterious shadow, which vanished when I woke. Maybe the gate's nearby, or so I hoped. Wherever we were, I knew we were far from home. Then, for you, Kotaro, I have to take you. Sleepy time. Somewhere safe. Oh gosh, quit screaming. Hello?
何もしない。平気。任せて。
Oh, what else can I really do when I'm on the verge of dying?
恩を返さないと。
Oh, are you the little rabbit girl? Yeah, it's probably the little rabbit girl. I walked and walked, looking for one of the Mentor strongholds Dromi found near the border. I arrived before our meeting time, so I poked my head in, explored a bit.
もぬけの殻だな。匂いもしねえし、隠れてるわけでもなさそうだ。くそ、牛肉ども。散々暴れて広げた縄張りを放置してどこ行きやがった。
The place's proximity to the border meant it was smaller than some of the other ones. But to the Minotaurs, the stronghold was enough of a prize as their victory, a monumentum to their brutalism. A monument to their brutalism, I can read. It's vile, but that's why it's unthinkable that they would simply take off.
やっぱほとんどが人間界。いや、あのでかい図体の連中が潜伏できそうな場所なんてあの町にはねえし。
In which case,
ホールが発生しやすい場所に縄張りを作って、毎回そこから戦力を送ってる。って考えんのが妥当か。
how was I supposed to negotiate with them if there were nowhere to be found? Pointless.
くそ。匂いも
They didn't even leave a scent for me, oh my.
手詰まりだな。いっそアルムムの行方じゃなくて、あいつらが通れそうなでけえホールを探してみっか。
Even if I were to do so, I can't throw my weight around with beasts too intimidated to deny me if I question them. In which case, I hate to say it, I need that stupid tiger.
道路海の野郎はどこで道草食ってやがる。
Tasukete! Ignis, Tasukete! Maybe he was being chased by some beast again. I was starting to get a bad feeling, but no matter where I went, he always seemed to find me with important info. Instead of waiting for him here and wasting even more time, maybe I should take action. Knock knock? Something rumbled beneath my feet. It wasn't that the frozen water shook, but more like someone was knocking on the ice right below me. What could it be? I peeked down. Oh, Kororo! Kororo! Beneath the ice floor, I can make out a slight, familiar cry. Ignis, something terrible's happened. Something awful has happened, sir. Please come help. We have a friend, I think, that's helping, but please come help. I slowly came to, feeling the warmth gradually return to my extremities. Given the environment, the piercing cold was inescapable. At the very least, I could breathe without pain, and I no longer shivered. I'm alive. I opened my eyes, only to realize I was inside of an igloo. Am I on the inside of a beast stronghold? I stood up and see that someone had tucked me into a thick blanket. Is this beast fur? It seemed that my survival against the unforgiving cold was all thanks to this blanket. I wonder who gave me this. Now then, where was I anyway? Half scared, I glanced around the igloo's interior. Then I eyed the exit. Oh! Young lesser beast, Fox Clan. A little fox boy. Hi. I make eye contact with the small young boy, who was unlike other beast children. He didn't resemble the bunnies. Instead, he had a pair of fuzzy ears and a wispy tail like a fox. Although he was watching me closely, which I took to mean he'd stood guard, he showed reluctance to approach me. Were you the one that saved me? Oh, okay. Thanks. You saved my life. He nodded plainly, and although he was, for the most part, expressionless, I detected no hostility from him. Then other beasts of adult age entered. They poked their heads through the entrance. They acted cautiously, half out of concern for me and half for themselves. Oh! What about Kororo? I fully came to and raised my voice. Someone came rushing inside from outside the igloo, shoving the beast out of his way. Hi! We all are back together. Ignis! Kororo! The firewolf, the man I wanted to see, came rushing in. In his hand he held Kororo. According to Kororo, this hideout was situated near one of the Minotaur strongholds that Ignis was after. Once I had been taken into this hideout, Kororo searched for Ignis, swimming through the sea to find him. Ignis noticed Kororo underneath the ice floor and was guided here. In turn, I told Ignis about how I was tossed into the gate to Bestia. After I finished my story, Ignis sat, disheartened. I was catnapped. I was snatched. I was abducted. I was taken. Yes, I hadn't even entered the gate room in the first place. I think someone entered Enchante through the gate and dragged me here. I figured that the only person capable of taking me to Bestia had to be a beast from here. The cage bird. Cold. No. They covered my eyes and mouth. They didn't say a word either. I was assaulted from behind too. I don't think even Kororo, who was in my arms, saw them. Did you hear the sound of clopping hooves? Did it feel a little furry when they grabbed you? Do you just did it feel like they had just heavy breath down the back of your neck? Probably a little more intelligent than Minotaurs. You're right. They'd probably get stuck in the door. It was comical, but surreal thought. I pulled up the covers as they slid down my shoulders. I took a deep breath, happy to be liberated from the hellish cold. I could finally stretch my fingers as they warmed. Oh, by the way, any idea why the beast decided to save me? The beast whose custody I was in didn't seem like much of a warring tribe. I wonder if I threatened them. As I contemplated the thought, the boy near the entrance spoke up at last.
匂い
My scent? Uh-huh.
匂いがついてた
Ah,
そこのイグニスの
Ignis' scent. Ignis, you scented me? When did you do this, sir? Is that why he saved me? What did it all mean?
なんつうか。俺はこっちで喧嘩の他にも、地元やこいつらみてえな魔獣の用心棒みたいなのをしててな。
Oh, that's why you kept traveling back and forth to Bestia.
ああ。つっても、俺が勝手に独善
Oh, I got him off,
接
sorry.
触したところでビビらせるだけだし、直接会話をすることはほとんどねえんだけどよ。
うん最初は怖かったよあ
He
な
is,
たのこと
he is a little rough around the edges. I don't blame him.
でも今は違う
Ignis's eyes lit up at the boy's fragmented yet sincere remark.
噂で聞いたあなたが不殺の魔獣でそこのパークスを助けるためにアルムムと戦ったってそれを聞いて自分が恥ずかしくなった僕たちだって昔あなたにアルムムに全員狩られそうなところを助けてもらったのに一方的に怖がってそれからも守ってもらってたのにお礼も言わなかっただから少しでもその償いと恩返しができればってその子を助けたんだ
After hearing the boy's story, Ignis marched over to him. With his big, rugged hands, he patted the boy's head.
恩だの償いだのガキが細けいことを気にすんなけどありがとよお前が現れずこいつがあのまま死んでたら俺は死んでも死にきれねえほど後悔してた
And the boy placed his hand in the area where Ignis had just patted him. He got head pats.
役に立てたならよかった
He smiled joyfully. Then, the snowfall began to lighten up, and I exited the igloo with Ignis, noticing someone running to us. I wonder who.
兄貴
There you
こ
are.
んなとこにいたんすねお待たせしてすみませんす
本当に遅えよ
いやー途中で吹雪にあってついうっかり迷子にってあれなんで店主さんがここにそれにコロロまで
It's a long story. Kotaro frowned as soon as Drummy approached us. Oh, it's a bit of a long story and a little complicated.
はあそりゃ災難っすねアンシャンテの中にさえいれば安全だと思ってたっすのにてか店主さんに起きたこと考えるとアンシャンテのゲートの位置その犯人の魔獣に割れてるんじゃ
Oh, that's true.
くそ新しい問題かだが何をするにも今日はもう遅えし仕方ね俺の地元で一泊すっか
Is it warm? Village. You mean wherever you come from is close to the settlement?
ああそれにここに泊まったらまた前みてえに周りを俺の騒動に巻き込む可能性もあるしな
本当はゲートに戻るのが一番なんすけどここからじゃ微妙に遠いっすからね天候も不安定っす
Yes, I understand. We're in your debt for the night. Come on, Kotaro. We get to go see Ignis's house. Afterwards, I give the young beast boy my thanks for saving me, and I bid goodbye to the others. We set out into the icy world to head toward Ignis's hometown. I wrapped myself in the woolly blanket which the boy had given me. It was, oh my gosh. It was the only deterrent against the unruly Bestian winds, and I tagged close behind Ignis. From time to time, Ignis and Dromi would spot my footing, and we took breaks here and there to rest. We made our way through a narrow, winding path, climbing through glacial mountains and ice blocks. The layers of snow and ice darkened. This mysterious place seemed out of reach for explorers. Unlike the rest of what I had seen here, settlements comprised of snow and ice. Throughout the interior and exterior of the settlement, everywhere I looked I saw fire. A spectacle I'd never laid my eyes on. I had the feeling that this place was special. This is Fireball Stronghold.
ああ、ちなみに俺も普段はここに世話になってるっす。
As we chatted at the entrance.
おお、イグニスか。
Indeed is.
こんな夜更けに襲撃かと思わず身構えたぞ。
He was an older person, possibly in his 50s. He strangely resembled Ignis, but the fire covering his face was noticeably weaker. He appeared to be a fellow firewolf.
急に悪いな、おじき。空いてる寝床があれば一つ貸してくれねえか。
それはもちろん構わんが。
The man Ignis addressed as his uncle eyed me with Kotaro nestled in my arms. Oh, good evening. Ignis has been treating me kindly.
ああ、どうもご丁寧に。
I'm the most violent beast of them all. A human!
凶暴な魔獣ではなさそうだが。お嬢さん、イグニスとはどんな関係で？
We go to the same restaurant. Huh? I wasn't sure how to respond. What should I say? Under normal circumstances, I would say he's a regular at my cafe, and that would be the end of it, but... I don't think Ignis has told anyone about Enchante, has he? Oh, another choice. I don't know why I went so confidently into Canis, but now I'm just like on pins and needles going through Ignis's. Let Ignis respond, make up a story. Let him respond. It wouldn't be fair for me to break a secret Ignis may be keeping. Instead, I decided to send an SOS signal to Ignis with my eyes. I think that he got the clue, but...
なんだ、あれだよ、あれ。
You know.
じゃあわからんのだが。
うまく説明できねえんだよ。ちょっとした知り合い。
We're sort of acquainted.
なるほど。若い娘さんなので。
I thought that she might be your mate, but never mind. Perhaps I was wrong.
とにかく一晩だけ世話になるぜ。
イグニスの知人ということであれば、寝床の一つや二つ喜んで貸そう。代わりと言ってはなんだが、イグニス、もう少しこっちに戻ってくる頻度を増やせんか。
ああ、それは。
こんな秘境にわざわざ来る魔獣はおらんだろうが、過去のこともある。いざという時にお前がいないとなると。
わかった、善処するよ。
With that, the man arranged for a pair of igloos for us to use as lodging for the night. But... something peculiar caught my attention. I surveyed the compound as we were escorted. Even considering that it was past midnight, The firewolf population here was dramatically lower than I expected of a place this big. If I had to guess, I would say I saw no more than 20 firewolves at most. But they all had one thing in common. I feel like everybody's shocked to see you, Ignis.
俺はめったにこっちに戻ってこねえからな。ここにいるのが単に物珍しいんだろ。それに、ヴィニトルはいろいろあって、基本そんな好戦的な魔獣じゃねえんだ。だから、喧嘩っ早いゆえに最強の魔獣だのを名乗ってる俺には近づきづれえんだろうな。
He mentioned that the only person he could be himself around was the man guiding us. He trusted the man whom he referred to as his uncle. I never knew he had a guardian. Ignis told all of this to me casually, a conversation aside as we walked. But for me, it began to stir some complex feelings inside of me.
よいしょっと。これだけの毛皮があれば店主さんもあったかいっすかね。
Indeed. And those should be more than enough. Thanks for bringing them over to me, Dromi.
お礼は無用っす。店主さんにはいつも美味しいアイスとコーヒーをもらってるんで。ところで、
You can sleep with Kororo for the night.
床にいるコロロがっすね。簡
What?
単に俺を標的と定めて、じ
You
わじわ
think?
近づ
I
いて
think
き
he
て
stayed still. He's a good boy.
できれば噛まないように店主さんから言ってもらえると助
Oh,
かるっ
he
す。
don't bite. He don't bite. I just want to take my eyes off of you. Bad boy, Kororo. No! Good boy, Kororo. Good boy. We don't like Dromi. Kororo backed away, slightly discouraged. But thankfully it was enough to deter him. He retreated playfully, sparing Dromi from his vicious crawl.
ああ、助かったっす。
I'm so sorry about Kororo. I'm not. Oh, by the way, which igloo is Ignis staying in? Shortly after I was escorted to my igloo, he hurried outside. Was he already asleep?
ああ、兄貴なら縄張りの外で見張りっすね。
Sleep is for the weak, said Ignis. Standing watch?
そうっす。他の凶暴な魔獣がここを嗅ぎつけてないか確認してるんす。多分さっきここへ来るのに通った道にいるんじゃないっすかね。
I see.
じゃ、俺は自分の寝床に戻るっす。二つ隣の雪道にいるんで、なんかあれば呼んでくださいっす。
You can go to sleep here if you're sleepy, Kororo. I'm going outside for a little bit. I wrapped a blanket around myself and ambled onto the snowy road. Midway, I make contact with an ice block and gasp at its coldness. I spot the werewolf, whose flames stuck out like a sore thumb in a sea of white. He wasn't doing much of anything. He stood in an upright position, gazing up at the evening sky absent-mindedly. Without saying a word, I approached him. I stood beside Ignis, as if to mimic him. I look up at the sky. Snowflakes continued to float down from the sky. They were like translucent snow crystals, illuminating the moonlight like jewels. Vestia's sky is beautiful at this time of night.
こんな血生臭い世界が綺麗な。んなこと言うやつ初めて見たぜ。こんなとこに来ていいのかよ。ようやく落ち着ける場所につけたってのに。明日は起きてすぐゲートへ戻るんだから、早めに寝ろよな。
Yes, of course. I'll head right back, but I just want to check up on you. Shouldn't you sleep too, Ignis?
ああ、いわゆる寝ずの番ってやつだな。心配しなくても、一徹や二徹程度は
Are you
魔獣に
sure?
とっちゃ大した影響ねえよ。
Are you sure about that? I see. That's good, I think. It's true. In my case, not so much. The scattering glaciers which dotted the range intensified the chill of wind blowing through them.
言わんこっちゃねえ。つっても、ここじゃあな。
He trails off, taking a minute to look at our surroundings. I wasn't sure how much longer I could handle.
当たり前だが何もねえか。しゃあねえ。だったらこれが一番マシか。
CG time? Yep. CG time. I'll keep you warm, because I'm naturally hot. Physically. Definitely not. Well, physically. I ruined my... Gosh darn it, I couldn't pick the right words. I ruined my joke before I could even get it out. I jumbled it up so much. Physically, like, to the touch. Like, temperature. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Joke ruined. Joke absolutely ruined.
ほらよ。こんなら寒くねえだろ。
He was forceful. Not so much aggressive as it was confident, as he pulled me into him. My body was being gently embraced by Ignis.
もし暑かったら言えよ。一応問題ない程度にしてるけどよ。
Alright, tooting your own horn, thinking you're too hot for me to handle, huh? As soon as I made contact with his body. Thank you. I was enveloped in warmth in more ways than one. He stared longingly at my face for a few moments.
あの時、俺を探しに来たコロロの必死な様子を見て、お前が一人でこのベスティアにいるって思って、心臓が凍りついた。
He spoke from his heart softly, candidly.
お前がどこぞの魔獣に殺されちまったんじゃねえかって。そんな光景を想像するだけで、なりふり構わず吠えそうになっちまった。
Did it trigger your combat instinct?
ことね。お前、ちゃんとここにいんだな。
I am still here.
この残酷な世界に食われねえで。
Nope, I survived.
ちゃんと生きてんだよ。
I'm tougher than that. And this is, you know what? I can't play poker because I'm not lucky. This is where my luck comes out, and I would much rather it be here than in a poker game. Ignis, as if to reaffirm his notions, pulls me closer into him. I notice his arms trembled against me. Yes, I'm alive. Thanks to the young fox boy. No, thanks to your mercy and commitment to peace. To relieve him of his anxieties, this time I nestled my body into his.
そうか。俺の終わりのねえ喧嘩がお前の命をつなげたってなら、まあ上々だよな。少なくとも無意味にはならねえ。
A lifetime of fighting. I let his sentiments sink in for a moment as I pressed in closer. Hey, why are there so few firewolves who live in the stronghold?
ああ、ほとんどが殺されたからだな、昔に。今じゃまともに戦える男は俺ぐらいしか残ってねえ。だから、ベスティアへ戻ってきた時には、こうやって見張りの番を引き受けてんだ。
That was my first inclination, and I anticipated his confirmation. Hearing it come out of his mouth, I couldn't shake the grief welling in my chest. Still, I wanted to get to know Ignis more. I want to know why he expressed so much contempt for this world, for his home, from time to time. So I composed myself, hoping I wasn't prying too much.
話すのは構わねえさ。ただ、辛くなったら言えよ。途中でもやめっから。
Give it to me, Ignis. Okay. Just as I was about to ask, Ignis seemingly read my expression. He began to open up, unraveling his tragic history, and the reasons which motivated him to become the greatest fighter Bessie has ever seen. My people, the Firewolves, began as a small, tight-knit tribe that did their best to resist being wiped out a long time ago. The truth is, we've always been persecuted. Ever since Bessie's ancient times. People set out to exterminate the Firewolves. It became something of a pastime, a baseless, bizarre tradition that, sadly, had survived through generations. We experienced torment, oppression, and suffering in ways that went beyond murder. Also, a tribe's stronghold is always under threat of raiding tribes that want to come and sack it. That happened when I was a kid. Flames spreading, melting our stronghold, red-stained snow, a scarlet of another name. The corpse of my kin, faces I saw alive and well moments ago, strewn on the ground. Among them were the women and small children incapable of defending themselves. Those lifeless bodies were trampled, kicked around. The raiders did nothing but laugh. They chased any surviving fireballs as they were playing a game of tag, murdering their targets for sport. On that day, I saw the face of evil. I remember it so clearly. All I could do was howl in rage, a scorching rage that consumed me. Before I knew it, I lashed back at them. And that part of the story is kind of fuzzy. When I came to, the raiders vanished from our stronghold. That's right. According to the firewolves who managed to hide during the raid. Apparently I went on a rampage and thrashed at the raiders until they were driven away. That was when it was discovered that I was one of the strongest firewolves in our history, but that didn't matter a bit, because during my rampage, the surviving firewolves, folks I spent time with every day of my life, people I called my friends, were murdered. That scared little kid, I was fending off a bunch of raiders when he came running towards me. But in my bloodlust, my manic state, I couldn't save him. In fact, I couldn't remember a thing.
だから俺はその後悔になる原因になったこの世界のルール自体が憎くて仕方ねえんだ。
The same went for Dromi. Sure, he might prance like an idiot all the time, but his entire family was murdered too. In fact, his situation is probably far more tragic than mine, since he was the last of his species. Firewolves and werecats lived closely for years, and we both suffered the same fate of persecution. We were neighbors. That's how he was taken in by the Firewolf tribe. Well, at the end of the day, this only made life tougher for him, having to contend with raid after raid. His resilience is the sole reason that he's alive today. After gazing at the field, Ignis stared at the vast field of ice upon which a massacre could be happening, just as it had so many times before.
魔獣は闘争本能のままに理由もなく強さを証明し合うために争う。一応俺も魔獣だからよ。それについては諦めてるっつうか、ある程度受け入れてんだ。喧嘩も
You
普通に好
channel
き
your
だし。
fighting differently than they do.
けどよ。
He continued with a whimper in his voice.
なんで殺すんだ。別に殺さなくたって強さを証明することはできんだろ。人間界の野生の動物みてえに生き死にがかかってるなら、まあ複雑だが理解だが、
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
ベスティアはちげえ。魔獣たちはただ強さを求めて殺し合う。それも戦う意志がねえ弱い魔獣まで巻き込んで、あえて残酷にむごたらしく。ガキの頃からずっとその理由を考えてきたけどよ、未だに納得できる答えを出せてね。
I listened without saying a word as Ignis's voice cracked. Perhaps this was the first time he'd ever opened up about his trauma. Each word felt cumbersome and awkward. He looked insecure about whether or not he could accurately convey the storm that raged inside of him. As a response, I mustered a single nod of affirmation. Seeing this, he finally...
その価値観を変えたいと思ってベスティアのトップに立ったんだ。俺が誰の血も流さず魔獣の頂点に立てば、少しぐらいは影響を受ける魔獣が出てくるかと思ったんだよ。
At last, he revealed what he fights for in this world.
今さらこの血に染まった世界を平和にしたいなんて高望みはしねえ。ただせめて 殺した命に対して敬意を払う程度の価値観が欲しかった。
So Ignis kept fighting. Despite the persecution, despite being an outcast, he wanted to usher in a new world. One without killing or bloodshed. But, judging by the condition of the
け
Minotaurs,
どな、結局トップに立っても何も変わらなかったけどな。ベスティアに戻れば襲われて、むしろ俺の命を狙う順をめぐって殺し合いが起こる始末だ。なあ、ことね。答えなくてもいいから聞いてくれるか。
instead of answering verbally, I give a slight nod for an answer. I let him know I'm listening, that I'm catching every single word.
どうして俺の故郷はこんな残酷な世界になったんだろうな。もし遥か昔にその元凶になった奴がいたとしたなら、俺はそいつを一生恨む。
Ignis unleashed his aimless anger out toward the desolate tundra. Did he go awoo? After saying everything he needed to say, Ignis quietly took a breath and exhaled.
聞いてくれてありがとうよ。
I'm pretty good at listening.
俺はずっと誰かにこの本心を打ち明けたかったのかもしれねえ。
Was it really okay to tell me? I'm just a human who knows nothing about Bestia.
いいんだよ。いや、お前だからこそ話したいと思った。
Why is that?
は？
Oh,
ど
whoa,
うしてってそれをお前。
No, stop.
俺はそのだな。こうして話を聞いてくれる。
Uh-huh. Without missing a beat, his stomach began to growl. We looked at each other and immediately we couldn't contain our laughter. Oh, come on. Did you time that? Is this normal?
仕方ねえだろ。どんな気分の時だって腹が減る
That's
時は
true.
減るんだからよ。
Excuses aside, Ignis could hardly contain his laughter as well. After his sorrowful story came to the kind of typical exchange we would have at Enchante. Being flung into this place might have spelled a total disaster, at least at first, but I was beginning to think that as long as I remind myself that I'm with Ignis, as long as we could laugh together, I could find peace through the chaos. In the end, we spent a few more minutes getting all of our laughs out. But Ignis, why in the world was your stomach growling so loud? You were fine before I got here.
お前が近づいたら急になんか食い物と
It's
か持っ
because
てん
I'm
のか？
close? Do you think I brought any food with me? Why would I? I was dragged here in the middle of the night. Of course I don't.
だよな。けど。それにしてはなんかお前からうまそうな匂いがする。
Something tasty. Maybe I smell like food because I cooked before I came?
なるほどな。ああ、そういや、お前からもらった弁当うまかったぜ。ありがとうよ。
Happy to hear it. I made quite a bit of food. Were you able to eat it all?
ああ、まあ、そりゃ、お前の作った飯だし、当然食い切れた。
But what?
いや、なんつうか、初日に案の定大量の魔獣どもに襲われてよ。
And you ate it all in one sitting?
すげえ腹が減って。
Wait a minute. Don't tell me you ate it all. Seriously, all in one day?
ちゃんと味わって食ったぞ。
He was hungry. He burned a lot of calories, okay, Kotone? That's fine and all, but his appetite was totally insatiable.
兄貴
Oh, it's Taihensu. My apologies. ごめんね. As the footsteps drawing closer echoed, we broke our embrace immediately.
んだよ、ドロミ。 てめえ寝たんじゃねえのか？
But the other fireworks slapped me
寝て
awake.
たところ他のビニトルたちに叩き起こされたんす。それより兄貴、すぐに縄張りに戻ってきてください。こことは別の縄張り近くに
Oh,
アルムムが現れたらしいっす。
on patrol now. On business. No more hugging. No more laughing. With Dromi's report, we rushed back to the
こっ
stronghold.
ちだ、イグニス。
Guided by the firewolf, Ignis and I ran beneath the frigid sky. As long as there are minotaurs around, separating from Ignis would be dangerous. I could be taken hostage like last time. For those reasons, it was best for me to accompany him to wherever the minotaurs may be hiding. Somewhere in this field of ice, south of the settlement. There they were. We came to a mutual decision amongst us that instead of engaging with them immediately, we would surveil them behind the ice blocks. It didn't seem as if they were searching necessarily for the firewolf stronghold, and the reason being, one by one, the group of minotaurs would jump into a dark, warping hole. In other words, a wormhole.
大当たりだな。まさか俺の地元の近くにホールがあるとはよ。
Do you think that this wormhole is connected to the human world?
だろうな。向こうにはカヌスと箱入りがいるだろうし、でけえ被害は出ねえだろうな。
Ignis said this under his breath right before he lightly tapped my shoulder. He leapt from out behind the ice block, revealing himself to the minotaurs. I hid in the shadows, and his uncle and I did our best to contain our breathing. Time for a confrontation. The minotaurs, noticing Ignis's appearance, all turned to face him simultaneously. Their eyes were as expected, the same as those we saw at the GPM in downtown.
やっぱ正気を失ってやがるな。ここに来るまでにどんだけ暴れてきやがったんだ。けどな。
Crack those
とりあえず
knuckles.
はこれ以上はホールを使わせねえ
Crack
よ。
that neck. Get ready to go.
梅雨払いと行くか。
Get him, Ignis. He flashed a confident smile and ignited his flames, sprinting toward the minotaurs headed for the wormhole. The wolf howled, digging his fiery fangs into his opponents relentlessly. Just as he did before. Or maybe better than that. Ignis easily subdued the minotaurs. But when the minotaurs cleaved into another that Ignis knocked out, it shredded its fallen comrade, as if to distract Ignis. Ignis thankfully was unharmed, but he was overcome with surprise at the sight of this merciless act. The other minotaurs followed suit, and they began breaking out into mass violence. Without any fear or hesitation against the fists and flames blocking their path. Some attacked Ignis, some attacked their what? Oh, their own kin, running into the flames head-on. They battled Ignis without fear, knowing he could easily crush their bones.
なんなんだこいつら。やりづれ。
Ganbare! You got this! You got this, Ignis! There were no casualties, but I had to avert my eyes from the wave of violence. Thanks to Ignis' efficient subduing of the Minotaurs, I was spared from witnessing further bloodshed. But one remained. Odd. There was a lone Minotaur, watching the battlefield from afar. We only noticed him after the dust had settled. The beast opened his mouth. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at us. Thick drops of viscous saliva dripped from his mouth, splashing onto the snowy ground. It's clear he isn't sane. But one thing was, we finally encountered a Minotaur that may be able to communicate with us. To grasp this one-time opportunity, Ignis lowered his fists. Instead, he threw out a question.
おい、牛肉くんよ。
You knew.
てめえら一体何のつもりだ。人間界で俺を襲って何になる。 ベスティアで俺をぶっ倒して死体を晒してもしねえ限り、俺からトップを奪った証明にはなんねえだろ。
違う。もう俺たちはトップなんてどうでもいい。
So what are you doing?
んだと。
Yeah, what's going on? Agnes was taken slightly aback. The Minotaur cackled in the distance as the icy air swirled around us.
俺たちの目的はただ一つ。どんな手を使っても、どんな場所を選んでも、てめえを
Oh.
殺すこと。
Strongest, who cares? Any way to underhandedly kill Ignis Carbuncle.
てめえが危険だから。魔獣として異常だから。排除しなくちゃならねえ。
はあ？
Ignis lowered his shoulders, letting the Minotaur's words sink in.
異常だ？まさか不殺のことを言ってんのか？だとしたら今更すぎんだろ。
In response to Ignis's confused response. Oh, yes, just cackle laughter. The Minotaur bent over backwards, breaking into heavy, patronizing laughter.
何がおかしい？
不殺
That's what he does.
偽善者。てめえが命を語るなどおかしい。
The beast grinned, continuing in his ridicule.
殺してるだろ。ビニトルの縄張りが襲われた時、
Oh, stop.
襲ってきた魔獣を
Oh, shut up.
同族
Leave him
のビニ
alone.
トルもろとも
Stop.
全員な。
Leave him alone. There was an unforeseen revelation, one even Ignis wasn't aware of. Ignis's jaw dropped, completely dumbfounded. The Minotaur continued.
正気を失い暴れたてめえはそれを覚えてねえだけ。わかるだろ、イグニス。本当はわかってんだろ。
In the face of the Minotaur's accusations, the color drained from Ignis's face.
ざっけんな！
Bullcrap, for sure.
さっきからこっちが黙ってりゃ適当なホラばっか吹きやがって。俺が殺しただと。それも他のビニトルまで巻き込んで。けったらねえ。んな根拠のねえ妄言を誰が信じるってんだよ。
根拠なら
Evidence?
ここにあるぜ。確かめてみろよ。お前にとっては懐かしいだろう。
The Minotaur chuckled, throwing an object towards Ignis. A ruined amulet. It differed in size, but it resembled the one Ignis wore on his arm. The moment he caught it, Ignis's eyes shot open, full of disbelief.
これ、あの時に死んだ。あいつの腕が。
By that kid. Could he mean his dear friend, whom he had lost when he was a boy? Why would the Minotaur have it? But, upon closer inspection, Ignis' surprise was for another reason entirely. His gaze was affixed. Oh my gosh, his gaze was affixed to the dried blood on it.
なんてあいつの残した腕輪の血痕に俺の匂いが混ざってんだ。
決まってんだろ。
Shh, quit harassing him. No sooner after the Minotaur answered. Ignis grabbed his head, crying at the top of his lungs in sheer agony.
やめろ。
Yike!
敵
はあっちの魔獣たちだろ。なんで俺たちまで。
イグニス、もうやめてくれ。一体どうしちゃったんだよ。僕たちのことがわからないのか。今の君はまるでイグニス。
Bye, friend. Sorry about that.
その面思い出したみてえだな。
Agnes's body jerked in reaction to the Minotaur's whispered taunt. He howled out, as if in utter denial to the accusation.
ちげえ。今のは何かの間違いだ。俺は誰も殺してなんかいねえ。現に他のビニトルたちがそう言って。じゃあもう一度聞いてみろよ。そこにいる当時のことを知るビニトルによ。
He noticed my presence. Beyond that, someone stepped out, and without objecting to the Minotaur's words, he looked shaky, uncomfortable, and his hesitation was troubling, perhaps giving his credence to the Minotaur's taunt. Agnes spoke to the silent man, his voice quivering with worry.
おい、おじき、何黙ってんだ。こんな時に冗談はやめろ。俺はあの時誰も殺さず魔獣を追い返した。ガキだった俺にそう教えたのはあんたらだろうが。
Yeah, you probably told that too because you were still little. After desperately pleading with him to reject the Minotaur's claims.
すまない、イグニス。だが、お前自身が一番わかっているだろう。蘇った記憶が間違いではないと。
In other words,
だよ。じゃあ、他のビニトルが俺を避け続けてる。本当の理由は。
everyone is afraid of you.
ああ。当時の魔獣やビニトルのように、お前にいつ殺されるかと、ひたすらに恐怖しているからだ。
Wait, please. I couldn't help but interject in confusion. Then, why? Why is Ignis still accepted in the stronghold?
当時は危険すぎるイグニスを殺せという声が多く上がった。それを解き伏せ、真実を隠すことを選んだのは他ならぬ私だ。
The man said so plaintively, but his tone was unkind to Ignis.
落ち着け、皆の者。お前たちの意見はもっともだが、冷静に考えるのだ。こたびの襲撃とイグニスの暴走で、戦えるビニトルは彼以外すべて死に絶えた。残った彼を殺せば、また次に魔獣に襲われた時、我々はどうなる？ビニトルが生き残り、血を残していくためには、危険を承知の上で彼を
Oh my gosh.
あの恐ろしい化け物を利用し飼い
Uncle.
ならしていくしかない
If
だろ
you're
う。
even really my uncle, it's probably more like Ignis's Olji-chan. Something like that. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's actually his blood-related uncle. They used him out of nothing but fear and for penance. The cruel designation, delivered from his relative no less, was a heavy blow. His hands fell limp, and from them slipped his friend's memento, his dying artifact sinking into the plush snow. The Minotaur cackled at the grieving Ignis.
もう一つついでに教えてやるよ。そもそもよ、正気を失って暴れる魔獣なんざてめえ以外にはいねえんだよ。
は？今度は何の話だよ。
Ignis looked like he wanted to cover his ears. But the Minotaur went on without mercy.
魔獣はもともと自分勝手で残酷。だからこそ、それを当然のこととして狂わねえ。どいつも理性を保ってる。だが、てめえは違う。
Oh my gosh.
戦い、狂って暴れ。
Ignis continued to just punch his lights out.
理性を保って戦う俺たちよりもよっぽど厄介じゃねえか。
Normally, Ignis wouldn't hesitate to call the Minotaur out for his lies. But right now, Ignis...
おい、おじき。
He was powerless and all he wanted was truth.
魔獣は戦い、闘争本能を刺激することで来る。ずっとあんたが俺に言い聞かせてきた、その教えも。
ああ、私の嘘だ。少しでもお前が暴走しないよう自分を戒めさせるためのでなければ、お前を化け物扱いなどはすまい。
ってことはなんだ、俺が今まで信じていたもんは全部が全部丸ごと嘘っぱちだったってこと。
Ignis finally fell into complete silence, hanging his head downward.
これでわかっただろ。イグニス、てめえはな、ベスティアでただ一人の魔獣でもなんでもねえ。だからこそお前は誰もかなわねえほど強えんだ。
Then, the Minotaur turned his back to us without another word, as if his mission was accomplished. He left the dumbstruck Ignis behind, sneering in triumph. At the same time, because the active wormhole was unstable, its opening silently closed. As for the man who was revealed to have lied to Ignis his whole life,
すまない、イグニス。
you must forgive me?
すまなかった。
You must? This is not an order situation. This is a begging. You must beg for his forgiveness. You should not expect this. He apologized profusely, then headed back to the stronghold. We stayed behind. The confusion, the shock, it all lingered in the wintry air in the light of Ignis' truth. Hug him, Kotone. Ignis. I came out of hiding from behind the ice blocks and called upon him, but his gaze was pointed on the ground, and he refused to answer. Then he told me to back away. The flames covering his body ignited, as if to reject anyone coming in.
やっと見つけました。
Something white, other than snow, came descending from the night sky. His wings were spotted with black. We heard his voice trembling in the cold, and we saw it belonged to... Oh. Hill! What are you doing here?
それはどちらかというと、こちらのセリフかと。
Hill, who appeared before us, shivered profusely, just as he did last time he visited Bestia.
あなたの姿が消えたので、もしやと思い、GPM のホールから捜索しに来たのです。
Oh, that's right. Sorry for worrying you. Are you okay in these conditions? Wait, of course not.
はい。ここまでたどり着くのに大規模な探知術式を連発しましたので、
Every now and then he swiped the snow that fell upon his wings, and ill, unaware of what had just happened, called out to Ignis.
なのでイグニス、経緯は知りませんが、あなたが交流していて助かりました。今の私にはおそらく、万が一戦闘行動に入った時に震える力がありませんから。
そうかよ。
イグニス、どうしました？何やら。
Ew, please let him be. Don't pry too much for now.
わかりました。ではひとまずこのままゲートへと戻りますか？
Yes, we were planning to spend the night here, but if we do, Il might pass out. But first, I had to find Kuroro, still inside the Firewall stronghold.
では私が迎えに行きましょう。縄張りとは先ほど上空から見えた炎の灯る場所に違いありませんか？
Yep, that's the one. Yes, and if you can, could you tell Jerome that we're going home too? He nodded in affirmation and powered through his tiredness towards the Firewall stronghold. I stepped into the snow, walking towards the silent Ignis. Let's go home, Ignis, I muttered to him quietly.
戻るなら、お前らだけで戻れ。俺は。
No, you're coming with me. It was painful, but I understood why he refused to come along. There was so much he needed to process. But I just couldn't. I couldn't leave Ignis, who looked ready to collapse behind by himself. So I reached out to him. I took his trembling arm and put it under mine. I wouldn't let go until he nodded. I found my resolve, holding this thought as I grasped him firmly against me. It seemed as though Ignis barely had the strength. It seemed as though Ignis barely had the strength left for anything, much less to shake me off. Come on, let's go home. To a nice warm bed. We'll sit down and we'll chillax, okay? We'll work through it. And what was it all for? My path, my entire life. All of my convictions, all of my beliefs were shattered, and my vision darkened, growing dim under the sharp moonlight. Like an idiot, the emotions began to pile in my heart. I wanted nothing more than to scream. It took everything out of me to contain it. The thin, soft hand which hung desperately to me belonged to Kotone. I had no idea what to tell her. I couldn't look at Kotone directly, so when I shifted my gaze, I spotted, coincidentally, the blood splatter left from my skirmish with the Minotaurs. In that moment, the smell of blood paints my vision red. Then... I couldn't understand what I'd done. In this situation, I instinctively covered my mouth. You gonna eat me? What was that? Why did I react that way to the blood? My memories were fragmented. Don't know what I was thinking inside the red periphery. Only an odd sensation, one that ignited in my chest. It turned my heart into a burning star. It yearned. It hungered. Sometime afterward... Yeah! Oh, hi, Kororo. Kororo, who Il went to retrieve, was returned to me. As we made our way back to the gate, so that Il won't pass out. Ukyu? Indeed. Kororo stuck his body out in my arms and probed curiously around the area. In particular, he was fixed on one location, unwilling to budge. What's the matter, Kororo? Let's go home. What do you see? What's up, Kotaro? What's going on? Chapter 3. And that night, we managed to make it back safely. To alleviate our exhaustion, we decided to rest in our respective bedrooms. As for the Minotaur we saw jumping into the wormhole, before Ignis's revelation, Hannes and the GPM agents who stood guard had already taken them all into custody. A day later, all of the exhaustion I accumulated in that freezing world finally began to leave me. I got up out of bed, but I couldn't shake the anxious thoughts. One thought more than others.
だってよ、殺してるだろ。ビニトルの縄張りが襲われた時、襲ってきた魔獣を同族のビニトルもろとも全員な。
Revelations from the Minotaur and
おい、おじき。
this betrayal.
こんな時に冗談はやめろ。俺はあの時誰も殺さず魔獣を追い返した。ガキだった俺にそう教えたのはあんたらだろうが。
すまない、イグニス。だが、お前自身が一番わかっているだろう。蘇った記憶が間違いではないと。
なんだよ、そりゃ。
The image of Ignis's distraught face was burned in my mind. Ignis. We immediately headed to our respective rooms after getting here, but I haven't spoken to him since. In fact, I don't even think he ever made eye contact with me. Kotaro, perhaps not a worry, slept next to me in my bed, nestling his soft, plump body against mine. Thanks to her. Thanks to him. Thanks to him, I could finally wake from my half-sleep, half-dreaming state of consciousness. Thanks, Kotaro. Guess it's no use for me to dwell about it. I patted him as a gesture of thanks. Food? Huh? My fingertips froze, processing Kotaro's abrupt demonstration of speech. Oh, we must feed him, yes, you're right. Kotaro eagerly flapped his hands and his tail, repeating these two words. Oh my gosh! There's a bug. One of those, like, those, what is words? The long-legged mayfly things? They're, like, everywhere now. I don't know why. Part of me started to think it was a desperate plea. What? Food? You want some food? Are you saying you want me to feed you like I did for Ignis? The thing is, I had never heard or seen Kotaro nag me for food like this before. But because he was, I picked him up and we headed down to the kitchen. I placed slices of raw fish on a plate that Kotaro might eat since he resembled a seal and figured seals enjoyed fresh fish. But... Huey? Kotaro expressed no interest in the fish. Instead, he shied away from it, completely disinterested. Huh? I took it to mean he wasn't hungry, but... was he just repeating some words he recently learned? It was unclear to me what he meant by those words. Kotone, you're dumb. As I was completing my mise en place for today's menu breakfast, the regulars began to arrive. Rindo, who came in rather early, Dromi, who accompanied him, Miser back from the demon world, Kanus, who held down the Minotaurs yesterday, and a somewhat sleeping looking ill, and a forlorn Ignis, thus completing the party. As we all partook in the meal, I recounted what had happened the previous day to Miser and the others. Then, after I finished my synopsis, Miser fell into deep thought.
イグニスが魔獣として異常で危険だからどんな手段を使っても倒したいね。なんか危険とかどの口が
Well,
言う
they've
のか
caused
ね。
more damage than
あの
Ignis
牛くんた
has.
ちの方がよっぽどじゃない？
That's for sure. Honest appeared to be in agreement, nodding calmly but affirmatively.
だがただのでっち上げにしては奴らは体を張りすぎている。アルムムが利用しているホールはあくまでも一方通行。落ちたら最後。故郷には二度と戻れぬ。それが全世界共通の認識の
It
は
is
ずだ。
kind of strange.
まあそうっすよね。連中は GPM のホールやここのゲートのことは知らないはずっす。ってことはそんな悲壮な覚悟を決めてまで兄貴を狙いに来てるってことっすもんね。
つまり真偽はともかくイグニスが危険という妙な大義名分がある限り、アルムムたちはホールを見つけてはこの町を襲撃しに来るということですね。
だろうけど。いる。君大丈夫？いつもよ
He
り
used a
ぼーっ
lot
とし
of
てるような。
energy yesterday. You can't blame him.
ああ、いえ、昨夜の消耗がまだ回復しきっていないだけです。どうぞ話を続けてください。
Miser picked up where they left off.
とりあえずアンシャンテやその周囲が脅威にさらされるなら俺たちにとっても人事じゃないよ。魔獣そのものは俺たちからすればなんてことないけど人間には十分すぎる脅威だもんね。
Knocking over cars, stomping down streets. Then Ignis, who had maintained silence this whole time, finally opened his mouth.
別になの俺がここから離れる
Oh, don't
解
you
決
pull
で
that
話したろ
Ignis. But that's... In a reflex, I interjected, but before I could complete my thought...
論外。
Ah! Thank you for backing me up, Miser.
あ
What he said.
論外なんだよイグニス。君がいなくなれば解決なんて話はね。だって大ぐらいの君がいないとさ、アンシャンテの売り上げが大幅に落ち込んじゃうわけだよ。
結果ここが潰れてしまっては元も子もないだろ
Indeed it would.
ええ、それに問題を起こしているのはあくまでアルムム。あなた自身が被害を出してもいないのに害あるような言い方をするのはよろしくないかと。
僕からも一言いいなら随分とらしくないなってそんな風に思うよ。イグニ
He's
ス
a little distracted. He's kind of, he found who he was, then lost who he was, and he's trying to find who he is again, and he's kind of accept that he thinks that who he is who he is now, but not who he is now.
うっせ
He's got a lot going on. Although it was undeniable that his demeanor was atypical, Ignis was unwilling to argue his stance any further. After listening to their exchange, I let out a heavy sigh of relief. Everyone thinks of Ignis as an integral part of this place. Enchante was a home away from home for them, and kicking him out was absolutely out of the question. I'm glad, as I muttered under my breath. I locked eyes with Ignis, who seemed to have picked up on my voice. But... Don't look away, look me in the eyes, Ignis, like a man. Face me head on. He remained speechless and blithely turned away. I knew it. He'd been avoiding me since the previous night, I just knew it.
では話を戻すとしよう。
Yes, let's get back on track.
アルムム、彼らの横暴は人間界そのものを危機にさらしているのだ。
Agreed.
ここは我々も手を打つべきだと考える。
余計なことすんな。これはベスティアと俺の問題だ。てめえの不始末はてめえでつける。
Bro, Ignis, please. Come on.
やれやれ。今日の君は何かと自分一人で抱え込もうとするね。具体的にどう解決するつもりなんだい？アルムムたちの根城もわからないんだろ？
それに時間をかければホールと人間界の関連性が他の凶悪な魔獣にも伝わるかもしれません。そうなってしまえばこれ幸いとアルムム以外の魔獣たちまで一斉に人間界に押し寄せる可能性もあるでしょう。
兄貴、ここは皆さんに協力してもらった方がいいっすよ。物理的な力しかねえ俺らだけじゃ
We'll just
さすがに
punch
どうに
him,
も
figure
でき
it
な
out
いっ
along the
す。
way.
平和な人間界に味を占めて戦争まがいなことを仕掛けそうなやつだって魔獣には5万といるじゃないすか。
Miser and the others considered Ignis's silence as a silent agreement. They carried on discussing a plan of action.
じゃあ話をまとめると、俺たちが取るべき行動の候補は2つ。
Would you lay them out for us?
まず1つ目、この町につながってるっていう
That could be
ベスティア
kind
の
of
ホー
hard.
ルの脅威をなくすこと。
それは確かに重要ですが現実的な意見ではありませんね。ホールは基本的に我々の手にも負えない未知の現象ですし。
だね。俺も天崎島の件はともかくとして、ホールなら何でもかんでも閉じれるわけじゃないし。
ならせいぜい発生する場所を事前に特定して魔獣の侵入を警戒するぐらいかな。
しかしそれでは後手に回り続けてしまう。であれば、いや、
Oops, I cut him off. I'm
2
sorry.
つ目の候補。こっちが大本命になるかな。
Be the bait.
アルムム。彼らがわざわざ戦いの場を人間界にする理由をなくすこと。
Which means, if we can eliminate the notion that they must eliminate Ignis at all costs, then they wouldn't have to come here in the first place, right?
そういうことになるな。それさえ解決すれば人間界が戦場となることもなくなるだろう。
The reason the Minotaur started targeting Ignis all of a sudden was...
そもそもよ、正気を失って暴れる魔獣なんざてめえ以外にはいねえんだよ。魔獣はもともと自分勝手で残酷だからこそ、それを当然のこととして狂わねえ。だがてめえは違う。戦い狂って暴れ。
Lets his alpha take over. His alpha sees red and he can't stop him.
理性を保って戦う俺たちよりもよっぽど厄介じゃねえか。
奴らが危険とみなしているイグニスの特殊性。便宜上暴走本能と呼ぶか。それを何とかすればよいという話になるな。
それができれば苦労しねえよ。
だろうね。聞く限り無意識的なもののわけだし、あの時帝が困惑した理由も納得だよ。
ガキの頃に身内から聞いたことがあってよ。魔獣は激しい戦いで闘争本能を刺激しまくると正気を失って見境なく暴れちまうんだ。
おお、その件に関しては僕も初耳だな。
Because it was a lie for you and you alone, Ignis.
アルムムの言葉を鵜呑みにするなら、イグニス以外の魔獣からそんな前例が見つかるわけがないしね。
Oh, but in terms of their sanity, or lack thereof, it seems like all the Minotaurs we've encountered were in a similar state. So, how do we explain that? I posed the question sincerely, which prompted Rena to pull out a tablet and fiddle with it for a bit.
そっちは帝が答えを出してくれたよ。 どうもアルムムたちには投薬された形跡があるんだ。
They were drugged?
うん。ただ、どこの薬かまではまだ特定できてないらしい。
Whatever those drugs were, they had to be serious.
言うなれば、正気を失う代わりに身体能力を上げる。そういう類のものだね、あれは。
Hello, Bird. Welcome in. How are you tonight? I hope you're having a good night. I'm having a good night going through these routes here. We're going through Ignis's route. He's the Firewolf Tsundere boy. We're dealing with drugged minotaurs, apparently. Drugs. I could hardly fathom such a thing ever existing in Bestia. Which leads me to ask, is it from here?
ともかくだ。つまりアルムムたちはてめえらの佐賀で狂ってるわけじゃねえ。
It is a quiet night at the moment. That is a nice thing sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to just chill and relax. I've gotten lucky this week and I got all my quizzes and exam. Okay, not all of them. I got most of my quizzes and exams done today, so I don't have school on Thursday. And I just have to go take a quick exam tomorrow evening. But I'm also off from work tomorrow and Thursday, so I've got some days off just to have nice, quiet relaxation and catch up on some chores around the house, which I'm very excited for.
戦いで来る魔獣はやっぱ俺だけってことだ。
ここで気遣っても仕方ないし、そこは素直に認めるしかないよね。同じビニトルの男も肯定したって話したし。
Is there any way that his rampage insect could be cured using Ill's magic? I might have come off as unreasonable, if not totally naive, but when I glanced over to Ill, it seemed he put serious consideration in my query.
精神的な抑制ですか。それに近しい法術は得得していますが、現状では何とも言えませんね。特にそれがイグニスの根幹。例えるのならば、人間でいうところの生理現象のようなものであれば、いくら抑制しようとも必ずタガが外れる時が来るでしょう。
You have a point.
ま、とにかくわかんないものは仕方ないよ。やれることからやっていこう。まずは暴走本能について詳しく調査。
Yes, research time. Miser cut in, displaying his trademark smile. Then, in a hushed tone of voice, he spoke solemnly.
あとは万が一だけどさ、イグニスが本当に暴走したら、
You really have to say it like that,
俺たちはそれを止め
Miser.
なきゃいけないし、
You really had to say it like that.
曲がりなりにも実力は知ってるから、それはもうきっと本気で下手をしたら命のやり取りになるかもしれない。そうなったらどこが舞台だろうと周辺への影響もただじゃ済まないしさ。まああとは同じアンシャンテの常連で、もっとシンプルに言えば、
Let's be honest. Not only are we all regulars, we're friends, right? Right. Yes, definitely. Don't say anything else. We're friends. Silence hovered in the air between us. But in that silence, everyone's renewed resolve seemed to find its footing.
よし。ならばやはり、イグニスの過去についてよく知る。
Like I said, it's research time.
話を聞くべきだろ
う。なら、ベスティア行きは確定かな。いる。君もあったかくしていきなよ。
Since we're not in a rush anymore, please wear your warm coats.
次回はそれを念頭に、いわゆる気合を入れて臨みましょう。
And so, the discussion concluded. Meiser and some of the others arranged for a trip to the Firewolf stronghold the very next morning. However, if I were to stay here all alone again, there's a chance that a suspicious person could return to fling me back in. So it was decided that I would be safer if I traveled with them. We had to go back into the tundra at the end of our discussion, as everyone rose from their seats. Ignis! I called upon him instinctively, seeing as he was the last to rise from his seat.
なんか用か
Nothing in particular, but...
なら引き止めんな
Ignis spat these words out, saying nothing else as he turned his back to me and stomped upstairs. A piece of silverware caught my eye. It sat on the edge of a plate, and I saw it as it lost balance and fell onto the table. The spot where it fell was the same where Ignis sat earlier. Oh. Then I realized. The breakfast I had prepared for Ignis was hardly touched. It was left uneaten, long since cooled. Khan is like, I see this. Once everybody left the scene, I stared blankly for a few moments at Ignis's leftover breakfast. I tried my best that I could make him... Oh my goodness, what is this structure of the sentence? I tried my best so that I could make him feel at least a little bit better. I even used some of his favorite seasonings and whatnot, but I guess it wasn't to his liking. No, that wasn't it. At the moment, for Ignis, his entire belief system, his entire way of life had utterly crumbled. He had no strength in him to enjoy a meal. I reminded myself of this. Despite how hard I tried to convince myself, it was nevertheless impossible to lament.
店主さん、ちょっといいっすか？
Are you going to be obnoxious or are you going to be serious? Just as I was succumbing to my own gloom, Jomi appeared all of a sudden behind me, called out to me. What's the matter? I thought you were on your way to Bestia already.
ああ、いや、なんつうか、もやもやするもんがあって。
Like I said, if you're not here to be obnoxious, you can stay. What's bothering you?
さっきの話し合いのことっす。
I detected a hint of reservation in Jomi's voice as he opened up.
なんか、勝手に兄貴の本能を直すみたいな流れになっちまったじゃないですか。
All right. Does that worry you?
当然じゃないですか。魔獣の中でただ一人兄貴だけが暴走するってことはすげえ特別だからっすよね。兄貴が最強無敵な理由もそこにあるかもしれないんすよ。
Ignis was, I don't think ever after being the strongest just to be the strongest, you know.
だからその強さにつながってるもんを解決っつうか取り上げられるのはどうしても我慢できないっす。
Okay, I don't know about curing him, but definitely like ways to manage it and to keep it in check to where he can control it. But Dromi, this is the talk of a crazed fanboy. I fell speechless, surprised by the sentiment behind Dromi's emotional complaint. The man I saw before me was not the usual dull and haphazard lad that he is, but instead I saw a man who admired and wanted to protect Ignis's strength.
もちろんこのままじゃ危険なのは俺だって分かってるっすよ。でも兄貴は強いからこそ兄貴なんす。
Is that how you classify Ignis in your mind, Dromi? Like, is that the only trait that you see of him that you classify? Like, oh, it wouldn't be Ignis if he wasn't strong. What do you mean?
ベスティアを変えたいと必死にあがいてトップに立ったその力は
Okay, that's
兄貴の奇跡そのものなん
his
すよ。
personality is not his strength, though. Dromi cried out passionately, reminding me of the heart behind Ignis's. Oh, sorry. Dromi cried out passionately, reminding me of the heart behind Ignis's mission in life. That's.
あんただって危ないところを兄貴の力に散々守られてきたじゃないですか。
Oh, Dromi, don't do this shit.
それを今さらこの店にとって危険だから切り捨てるって
It doesn't hurt to at least look into it. If we know that he can't control it right now, we can find a way for him to control it. Dromi, shut your mouth.
そんなのいくらなんでも都合が良すぎるんじゃないですか。
By this point, Dromi was almost yelling, but he made a good point. Hmm. We're saving. Heretic of Doom? What? I totally didn't realize that was the name of this chapter. Heretic of Doom, chapter 3. Ignis doesn't want this, we can't leave it alone. Ignis doesn't want this, we can't leave it alone. I'm gonna say we can't leave it alone because my initial instinct, as I'm really... I'm irritated with Dromi right now. I'm always irritated with Dromi. I'm specifically irritated with Dromi right now because he's making it seem like Ignis's only, like, qualifying trait that makes him a person is his strength. And if we take that strength away from him, then he would be useless. He wouldn't have his soul anymore. Like, and I think that's stupid because there's so much more to Ignis than that. And Ignis said that he became strong so that he would he became strong so he could try to promote peace, but even when we talked to him earlier, he knew that that wasn't going to be the case. So even if he's like attached to his strength now, I don't think that by us supporting that his strength is his only defining trait and we have to make sure at all costs that he keeps his strength, I don't think that's a good way to go. I don't think it's a good way to go, so I'm gonna say we can't leave it alone. At the very least, we had to find we had to find some way that he can, we need to find some way where he will be able to learn how to control it and understand it. Because we don't understand it right now. And it's very unstable. We can't leave it alone. We can't just let the Minotaurs run wild in the human world. I think Ignis would probably blame himself if innocent people were hurt in the process. But doing so may instigate Ignis's urge to rampage. Dromi, if you really think Ignis is your bro, I need you to cooperate with us. If we leave him alone and he ends up going on a rampage and kills someone, the Ignis you know and love will completely fall apart, and I'm not sure we'll get him back. I tried my best to persuade him, but he seemed unconvinced because he's a stupid simp. He's a stupid simp that can only view Ignis one-sidedly as like an idol, not as an individual. He reached his emotional breaking point, taking his anger out on a nearby table. Oh, shut your mouth. Ignis will be Ignis. We're looking out for Ignis' best interest here. We're not looking to take anything from him. We're looking to try to help him. Val? The second I asked, Dromi cut himself off. Perhaps he realized how irate he had become that he hurried to cover his mouth. You've never been on my good list, Dromi, but you're really on my shit list now. You know, if we're going with the common theme in at least the first two routes, is that at least the catalyst, if not the antagonist in itself. No, the catalyst to the antagonist, yeah. For both the routes that I've done so far, the catalyst that helps spur on the antagonist, the true antagonist, right? The true looming threat. Were all characters that were close to the character's route who we were taking. Like in Canis's, it was Venya, and then in Rindo's, it was Mikado. So I kind of had this thought when I first started, but I didn't want to say it, just in case. But if we're following the same pattern here, Dromi, you're going to be the one that betrays us in the end. You're going to be Judas. I was flabbergasted. I've never seen Dromi so worked up before. But it came as no surprise given how much he idolized Ignis' strengths. I suppose it was an understandable reaction. Still, both Dromi and I care deeply about Ignis, that much was undeniable, but our opinions for how he should proceed differ so much. If Ignis had overheard our conversation, what would he have said? I don't know. Drome's looking at this very one-sidedly. He's looking at him as like cool superhero, top of the world, bestia, fighter, Ignis, not as Ignis as a person. There I was, laying on my bed without much to do.
ベスティアでただ一人の正気を失う化け物か。
Everything that mentor my uncle said played repeat. Ah! Everything that Minotaur and my uncle said played repeated in my head. The lies, the setup. I wonder how many times I'd replayed that scene to myself. But when I gave it some thought, even the dumbest, most knuckleheaded beast I'd fought had never gone so cuckoo that they blacked out. I've had my fair share of fights, probably even more than that. I've had my fair share of fights, probably even more than I thought? But it never occurred to me until now. I guess I started to realize how much of a total moron I've been this whole time. No. And the real question was, I felt like a stranger in my own body. At any minute, I could lose my sanity and murder someone, friend or foe. That to me was scarier. I could attack anyone as opposed to someone who killed intentionally. I'm a killer. I have killed. Other beasts, no less. Even worse, my kin. The firewolves who I tried to protect. And Goltone. She heard it all.
こういうベスティアでの俺の立場ってのが話に上がった時点で避けられると思ってたぜ。けどお前、あんまそういうの気にしねえんだな。一応
I
隣
don't.
にいる俺は
You best
殺し
remember
殺さ
that
れの世
now.
界のトップなんだぜ。
Don't quit avoiding my gaze and talk to me again. Mm-hmm.
なんだよ、その微妙な顔。
Well, be that it may, you've kept true to your creed, which means you've never killed anyone, right? I just don't get how someone can hold any fear or hatred toward you for something you haven't even done. Seems like I lied to her about my vow never to kill a long, long time ago. It strained me to entertain the thought.
くそ。何バカ正直にここへ戻ってきてんだ、俺は。
Let's go home, Ignis.
戻るなら、お前らだけで戻れ。俺は。
I should have pushed her away back then. No. Even before that. Before she heard the truth. Tony's warmth. I cringed to myself, thinking that I might have taken her kindness for granted this whole time. I used these two monstrous hands, stained by the blood of who knows who, to touch her. All the comforting memories that I had of Cotone were being overwritten by fearful ones. What if, on that day, at that moment, I had turned into a monster and pointed my fangs at Cotone? Once I started down this rabbit hole, there was no turning back. Because I had already taken a dear friend's life with my hands. There's no guarantee that I wouldn't do the same to Cotone. And yet...
あいつもあいつで。
Yeah, I'm a little weird. I have a cafe whose main clientele is otherworldly beings. I'm just a little strange. Don't worry about it.
なんであんな話を聞いた直後に俺なんかの手を取った。
Why wouldn't she fear that I would kill her at the moment she touched me? Why would she allow this bloodthirsty monster to sit inside her cafe?
くそ、もう全部が意味わかんねえよ。
Rotone, you better come up here and talk to him. My head was ready to burst. Packed to the brim with my head was ready to burst. packed to the brim with revelations and confusion. As I let my emotions get the better of me, once more the door swung open. I shut up just in time to see. Connus? Yep. 8.
なんだ、てめえかカヌス。ノックぐらいしやがれっての。
ここは我の部屋でもある。普段はノックなどしていないだろう。
Talk some sense into him, Connus.
何をそんなにも意気消沈して。
Work it out with him, help him.
いつものお前ならば、アルムムたちを片っ端からぶちのめせばいい話だと好戦的に笑っていただろ
う。うるせえ。てめえに俺の何が
You don't know me. I don't even know me.
そうだな。何もわからぬよ。我とお前では生まれも年も立場も何もかもが違う。だがお前が急によそよそしくなったことで琴音が落ち込んでいるのはわかる。
He hit me right where it hurts. I couldn't even muster up the energy to howl.
なの仕方ねえだろ。自分がいつ周囲の奴らをぶっ殺すかわからねえ化け物。そんな真実を突きつけられてよ。一番あっさり死にそうなあいつに平然と近づけると思うのか。
イグニス、それは言い訳にならん。彼女の身を案じながら、今まさにお前は彼女を
You're
傷つ
hurting
けている
her.
のか。
You don't want to hurt her, but you're hurting her by trying not to hurt her.
わざわざお前のために用意した料理まで手をつけず。
Connus is so perceptive.
それは。
お前の気憂はわかる。気にせず普段通りに接しろとは言わん。だがせめて琴音に己の本心を打ち明けろ。このままでは
You should be
琴音
tell.
は沈み込む一方だぞ。
Ah, this game I love. I like this game a lot. I do. I'm happy with this game, but oh my gosh, the proofreading. Axis. Whoever used to localize this game really dropped the ball.
お前は彼女にあんな顔をさせるためにここに戻ってきたのではあるまい。
Those were Connus's parting words before he left the room.
おせっかい首なし野郎が説教するためだけに来たのかよ。
Yes, he did.
んなこと言われなくたって分かってんだっつうの。
Just as I muttered this to myself. Go eat, you dumbass! You're going to get hangry. You feel even worse because you're hungry. By this point, I was growing resentful of how my stomach could howl almost as loud as I could, even now. Well, I guess I did skip breakfast, even if it's right in front of me. Can't be helped, I suppose.
待てよ。
That's weird. I only skipped one meal. Why am I this hungry? I mean...
俺はここまで食欲なんてあったか。
When I first met the old man, no matter how exhausted I was, a single meal was enough to satisfy me, but... I sat alone in my room, without much to do. Kotaro was laying comfortably in my arms as I stared at a faint stain on my wall. This feels odd. Normally, at this hour, I start getting anxious if I'm not doing something. It was better to close up shop at this point. My only reservation was thinking about a customer who wanted a cup of coffee. But I just can't. I didn't want to think about the leftover food, so I ran back to my room. The one who's hurting the most is supposed to be Ignis, right? At the very least, I wanted to get my body up and moving. So I got to my feet and pulled a book from my shelf that Grandpa had left behind. Maybe I can learn a little bit more about Ignis and the beasts. But... Greek mythology, ancient Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology, biblical mythology. There's so many mythologies involving animal races it was hard to pin down. Of course, Animals aren't like fairies, angels, or demons, where their existence is limited to certain texts and regions. In that case, what if I narrow it down to mythologies that include werewolves, like Agnes? While flipping through the pages, I heard someone rap on the door. That force of the knock startled me. I set the book down on my bed, leaving the page open next to Kororo. Come in! I hope this is someone we know. I signaled my consent for them to enter as I rushed over to the door. Okay, hi, hey. I knew it was you, Ignis. I thought he'd been completely avoiding me, but now here he stood. It was impossible to contain my confusion. At the same time, now that he was here, I forced myself to act as normal as possible, so I began to speak. Oh, what's the matter? Did you need anything? Oh, let me guess. Are you hungry? You didn't eat any of your breakfast. I'll fix you some food right now, so stay put.
ちげえ。いや、腹は減ってるが。お前のとこに来た理由はそれじゃねえ。
Oh. Ignis took a deep breath and, with an uncharacteristically solemn voice, he said,
悪かった。何の説明もなくお前を避けて。それから、お前がわざわざ作ってくれた飯も残しちまった。
It's okay. You don't have to apologize for that. I know you were confused. Besides, you were upset, weren't you? So it's...
それでも、今詫びを入れて
Oh, man. Thank you, Ignis.
明日の遠征の結果がどうなろうと、俺はもう二度と。
No, hold on. Hold on. What? His words took me by complete surprise. Wait, what? What do you mean?
そのままの意味だよ。
Oh my
俺がここにい
gosh.
たら危ねえだろうが。
You manned up a little too much in the wrong direction, Ignis. But that's why we're going tomorrow. To find a solution for this whole fiasco. Didn't you hear everyone object to the idea of you leaving Enchante? That is out of the question. You managed to contain your rampage up to this point, so you can't...
簡単に解決できる問題なわけねえだろ。イルも言ってただろうが。俺の根幹にあるものは抑えられねえ。俺にとってのあの本能はあって当たり前のものなんだよ。今となっちゃそれが嫌ってほどにわかる。俺だって好きでこんなこと言ってんじゃねえ。
Oh, I couldn't hit that button, stop.
けどな、振り返って。
Oh, you know, I've hit the button. I forget hitting the button. I need to take a drink of water. My penalty for hitting the button is drinking water. What do you mean, Funky?
ゆうべ、アルムムと戦った後、俺は奴らの流した血の匂いで。
And you think going by yourself, going off by yourself is going to help you? Is that...
ああ、目の前が真っ赤に染まって、意味わかんねえ衝動に襲われた。
Mm-hmm.
あの感覚には覚えがあんだよ。あの時、ビニトルの縄張りを襲われて。
Okay, this is also against, like, a bunch of firewolves that had no combat prowess about them, and some minotaurs that you can easily beat up. I have literally a fallen angel, a demon king, a Dullahan knight. Who else? Am I missing someone? Oh, yeah, Rindo. How could I forget about Rindo? Rindo's... Well, he does not have supernatural powers. He makes up for in resourcefulness and intelligence.
正気を失って、周りにいる連中全員を皆殺しにした時と同じもんだ。
You know we would do our best for you, Ignis. If you did that, you just went on rampage across the English countryside? We're not even in England. Why did I say that? The Japanese countryside through the city. I don't think that's a smart idea. You should stay with us.
ことね、俺はな、一歩間違えりゃそのまま、あの場にいたお前をぶっ殺してたかもしれねえんだよ。
Ignis was barking. He bit his lip to contain his fury.
んなことをする可能性がわずかでもあんなら、俺は二度と
Ah,
アンシャンテに
Ignis.
来ねえ。そんだけ伝えに来た。じゃあな。
He ended his remark, spinning on his heel to leave my room. Ooh. Yes! Catch him! Snatch him! Close that door! Wait! What is his face even? Hold on. Hold on. Here, we'll turn that off for a second so we can see the CG. Wait. I quickly grabbed his hand, hoping it would stop him. The moment I did so, however, Ignis yanked his arm away from me. It was like he was afraid of touching me.
話せよ。
No.
話せっつってんだ。
No! In the face of Ignis's petulant resistance, I too resisted like a nagging child. I understand that you're trying to say, Ignis, in the worst case scenario that your rampage flares up. You don't want to inadvertently hurt any of us, right? I think it's understandable to feel that way. If I was in your position, I'd probably have the same inclination. Still, one thing's for sure. I never want to contemplate what Enchante would be without you. I knew I was being selfish. But I couldn't simply let him leave. Not after everything. The idea was unthinkable.
お前な。
The veins on Ignis's forehead bulged.
いい加減現実見ろよ。どんだけ俺に夢を見てんだ。俺はな、お前が今掴んでるその手で
I don't care!
殺してたんだぞ。かつて縄張りを襲った魔獣たちを、仲間のビニトルを、ダチを、理性をなくして一匹残らず。
I know, and I know that's something you can't swallow right now, but please let us help you!
無意識だとしても、それを隠して、お前に不殺なんて大嘘吹いてた。
You
クソ
didn't
野郎
know
なんだ
you
よ。
were lying to me, though.
前にお前は言ってたじゃねえか。
Oh my
俺が不
gosh.
殺だから怖くねえって。だが、俺は実際殺してた。
But I never saw it.
あ？
I never saw you do it. I've never seen you kill anyone, not a soul. So, you can't expect me to hate you or be afraid of you.
この
My voice was quivering. If I were to let loose, a deluge of tears would come streaming down my face. But I desperately held all of it back. After all, I'm the one tormenting Ignis with my personal feelings. Crying now when he was at his most vulnerable would be unfair. It would only bring him down while his hands were full with... It would only bring him down while his hands were full from his crisis of self. I'm an ordinary human being. After hearing everything that happened, I can't lie and say that the thought doesn't frighten me a little. But still, the Ignis I know is better than that. He's kind, he's gentle, and he's you. I can still hold your hand like this.
なへりくつ。
I don't care! The least you could do is not assume. Till after tomorrow. I want to contemplate what happens in the worst case scenario. Can't you see? I want you here, Ignis.
なんでこの後に及んでそんなことが言えんだよ。お前を傷つけてからじゃ遅えって言ってんのに。
Despite my heartfelt desperate pleas, as I should have expected, Ignis was stubborn and his heart was set. Turn back to chat now. Sit there. Here we go. It was tragic. It was painful. But I didn't notice until now. Koto was sitting on the bed, staring at the open book in the corner of my eye. We better not be pulling out like some silver bullet bullshit. Until early the next morning, we finalized everything for our Bestia trip.
最近ま
Hiya!
た 事故や道路の工事が多いとは思ってたけど、あれ、ベスティアが関係してたんだ。でも、本当に琴音まで行くの？いや、例の侵入者とかで、こっちのが危ないのは分かってるけどさ。
We'll figure it out. Karia came to see us off, expressing concern with Kotaro safe in his arms. I responded with an awkward smile, donning the blanket that I had received from the young beastling. Right. I'll be okay. Promise. I have everyone with me. You be careful too. You be careful too, Karia, just in case those minotaurs show up in town.
大丈夫。一応 GPM の人も辺りを巡回してるって言ってたから。
Normally I would have asked Karia to watch after the cafe for me, but there's a chance that the intruder who assaulted me could come back at any time, so this time, Karia was instructed to stay at home. One of Mr. Rindo's trusted subordinates, at the not-so-gentle behest of Miser, agreed to watch after the cafe for me. Also, it was decided that we would leave Kotaro at home with Karia, under the guise of a stuffed animal. Or so we had planned. Kotaro was like, I gotta do my best for Ignis. Cling! All of a sudden, Kotaro shifted his weight, leaning into Karia's arms and dropping into mine. Kotaro! This felt awfully familiar. Anger. I tried my best to give him back, but... Ow! Ow! Kotaro dug his claws into my arms, seemingly unwilling to part with me.
一緒に行きたいみたいだね。まあ、ベスティアはコロロの故郷なわけだし、機会があるなら行きたいのかもね。
Mr. Rindo, who was eavesdropping from the side, interjected.
いいんじゃない。君の危機をイグニスに知らせたって実
No,
績
no,
もあ
no,
るし、
Kotaro is very
足手ま
useful.
といにはならないと思う
He is
よ。
much more useful than Dromi is. And while a little obnoxious with his little shrill kuru, I don't know what he does. I can't remember what he does. His little shrill screamings. He's very sweet, very loyal, very loving, very trustworthy little seal. Thank you. All right, Kotaro, we're going. Karia handed Kotaro over entirely, wrapping both hands around his plump body.
さて、僕も魔獣の毛皮は身につけたし、帝から預かった通信機もバッチリ。忘れ物はないかな？
How about it? Let's go. Transmitter?
ああ、最近開発に成功した新作だってさ。
A transmitter is a scientific marvel? Mr. Rindo beamed with pride as he pulled the device out of his pocket, though it looked like a smartphone to me. Mr. Rindo explained how the device enabled communication between realms for GP as the broadcast point. Also, it took photos. The entire room took interest in this device, as Miser and the others huddled close to the sneak peek at the palm-sized transmitter.
やっぱ人間界の技術の方がよっぽど魔法っぽいよね。
Didn't we already see this? Or was this on a different route? Oh, we might have seen this on Canis' route. When we went into, what's the word? When we went into Medio, near the very end. I think that's where it was. I'm like, didn't we already see this in the prologue? I'm like, treating me like this is the first time we've seen this, which I guess in this particular route, it would be.
まさか異世界との境界を越え、会話を可能にしてしまうとは。
まあ、まだまだ試作段階で音質は悪いし、通信がいきなり途切れる可能性も高いらしいけどね。
Yeah, man, it's hard to get good bars out in the other worlds.
お前ら、無駄口叩いてねえで、さっさと行くぞ。
ドローミスも向こうで待機しているようです。あまり待たせるのもよろしくないかと。
I don't trust Dromi. At the very least, he's one of those like stubborn, spineless bastards, you know? That will be like, to get what I think is the best done, I'm going to talk to the bad guys and get something going, and then it's either going to work out for him and he's just going to get what he wants, quote unquote, and we're going to have to suffer it, or they're also going to turn on him. He's going to be like, why would this ever happen? It's like, because it's your own damn fault, you dumbass. So, I just grabbed a hold of the doorknob, embracing myself as we entered the gate of Vestia. For a while, I stared at him from behind. Without a word, I grabbed onto his shirt.
おい、なんで俺を掴むんだよ。
Keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times. Well, I don't have a, you know, like in cars, they've got those little handholds for the driver and the passenger side. I just gotta grab my handhold to feel comfortable going in. Okay. Oh, give it a rest. As if in reference to our conversation from the previous day, I hold him ever so tightly. Ignis, realizing it likely wasn't worth the argument, let out a sigh of defeat. His response was as cold as I expected it to be as he squeezed the doorknob. From there, we were transported back to the unforgiving snowy world altogether.
兄貴に店主さんたちお待ちしてたっす。
Hi, Dromi.
兄貴の地元ことビニトルの縄張りに改めてご招待するっすよ。他の魔獣たちがいないルートを事前に調べてあるからご心配なくっす。
I'm watching you, Dromi. Don't do anything stupid. Don't ruin this for us. Right, we're counting on you. Unfortunately. I was unsure if he'd gotten over our last conversation, but Dromi welcomed us at the gate entrance, awkward as ever. I can speak to speaking awkward as ever. Without taking any detours, we proceeded straight down the guided path. Of course, with the conditions in the distance, we took occasional breaks. Soon, I began to recognize my surroundings. As we ambled down the path which led us straight to the firewood stronghold, the firewolf stronghold, we heard an electric pinging sound, one that was foreign to this foreign world, coming from Mr. Rindo's pocket. The sound, of course, was none other than... Oh dear. Even better. The geezer himself. Stop it. He's not that old. Rindo's not that old. We hear you. We're a little busy here, Mikado. You're about, if not, you and Dromi might be on similar levels of obnoxiousness that I can't stand. Please hurry up. Mikado's volume was cranked all the way up, making it so all of us could hear their playful banter.
無駄に声がでけえな。でもすごいっすね。本当にベスティアと人間界の間で会話ができちゃったっすよ。
Is it really that exciting? Seriously. Guess that proves it. Mikado really is a genius, isn't he? Don't inflate his ego anymore. Come on, we've got stuff to do. Let's skedaddle now. Skipping. Yep, I'm gonna hang up on you. Well, why'd you call? What do you want from us? Nothing major, yeah. Uh-huh. Accurate intelligence about the man himself in the field.
意外と真っ当なお願いだね。
Yeah. Who said this is going to be a simple favor? Every firewolf we see.
とりあえず了解。ただあっちにとって通信なんて未知の塊に見えるだろうし、話してる最中は騒がないでくれよ、ミカド。
Mikado squealed, responding with energetic affirmation as our company set off again down the trail. The only thing I could think of was how different Bestia looked from day to night. Back then, the iceblocks were a deep azure, but now they were close to transparent. I guess would that be azure? I think it'd be azure. The trek was a lengthy workout. Just as my knees began to howl in pain, we finally reached our destination. The men in our group visiting for the first time began inspecting the surrounding igloos and large torches with intrigue.
へえ、ここがビニトルの縄
It
張
is
り。
indeed.
他の魔獣の縄張りとは違い、炎が灯してあ
Because
る
they
のだ。
have fire, because they're fire wolves.
炎の魔獣ってことを考えればそれが普通なんだろうけど、氷だらけのベスティアだと
Well, that
な
makes
んだか
sense.
不思議だよね。
It's like lizards. Lizards are cold-blooded, so they wanna bask in the sun to be warm. If these guys are hot-blooded, they probably live comfortably here.
ひとまず私個人としては他の縄張りに比
Oh, I
べ
guess
れ
what
ば
they mean
い
with
く
the
らか
fire
暖
round.
かいですしありがたいです。
As soon as the firework, I almost said fireworks this time. Firewood, fireworks. As soon as the fireworks took notice of us, as soon as the fire wolves took notice of us, the thin population began to buzz. The discomfort was palpable. All the fire wolves caught sight of Ignis, and the fires located beside their ears diminished without warning. Ignis, however, hadn't seemed to mind, and instead marched to snow.
おい、おじき。あんたに聞きてえことがある。
Ignis grabbed the arm of the man who just a couple of days ago delivered the earth-shattering news to him. The old man shook his hand, signaling to a worried bystander that everything was fine.
わかった。今まで騙してきた罪滅ぼしにはならんが、私が知っていることを
The
全て
least
お
you
前
could
に
do.
打ち明けるとしよ
Out of respect to Ignis's unwavering resolve, the old man nodded, obliging his resolve. Why do we repeat that so many times? Man, I could have gone through this and cleaned this up and made it so nice. Dialogue, that's like the whole thing, right? Like the visuals are pretty, for sure. But this is a visual novel. If your story is not clean cut, it's like, ah, man. Kind of hurts. It hurts just a little bit inside. He escorted our group to an empty igloo to begin the discussion. At first, we introduced ourselves. We took the time to explain to him the circumstances happening in my world. Then Ignis's expression warped as he began to interrogate the man.
まずは再確認だ。俺がガキの頃、縄張りを襲った連中と仲間のビニトルを正気を失った上で皆殺しにしたってのは本当か？
ああ。
After a long pause, the man nodded out of resignation.
我らビニトルは古くから迫害されているがゆえにもともと戦える若者が少ない。あの惨劇の最中にできたことといえば必死に逃げ延びることぐらいだった。そうして我らがどうにか身を潜めている間に
暴走したイグニスが残った仲間や襲撃者たちを。
皆の断末魔を聞けばあの場で何が起きていたのか。
そうか。
Ignis reminded once again of the atrocities he had committed, uttered in silent confirmation, choosing not to erupt in rage, but to nod instead. However, we all believed this to be the story's end.
それと
And the man whose face sagged heavily with regret continued to speak, pointing his nose to the ground while recounting his tale.
これはお前自身に問うべきかわからぬのだが、あのと
I cut him off, sorry. Ignis shrugged, offering his usual response.
覚えてねえさ、何もな。
Despite his sincerity,
そうか。
spill it, uncle.
であれば仕方がないな。
ゴジン、何か気になることでもあるのか？
The man stewed in his hesitant demeanor as Coniston interjected. Then he let his gaze wander for a moment, all of us hanging on the edge of our seats as he unraveled.
実はその騒動の際にいくらか我らの同胞が数を減らしていてな。
そりゃそうだろ。敵味方問わずに俺が大半を殺したってんなら。
いや、そうではないんだ。それ以外にもあの混乱の際に集落の外にかなりの数が散ったようでな。 十数人ばかりなのだが、死体も特に見当たらなかったため、おそらく逃げ延びたのだと思っているが。
Ignis was asked if he recalled any of them, though unsurprisingly, Ignis shook his head with an inquisitive gaze.
そうか。まあ、きっとどこかで生き延びていると信
After all
じる
these
しか
years,
なか
though.
ろうな。
イグニスに真実を伏せていた理由は、やはり自衛の武力として利用するためですか？
ああ、その通りだ。すまなかった。
He bowed his head deeply. All of us, including Ignis, could do nothing except wait quietly for the silence to pass.
あの時のことを話すとすれば、この程度だと思うが、他に何か質問はあるだろうか？
はいはい。俺たちイグニスのその暴走本能をなんとかしたくてさ、情報集めの最中なんだけど、君以外にも話を聞けそうな人っているかな？
いや、皆やはり私と同じ程度のことしか。
He stopped in the middle of his sentence as if something caught his eye. Oh gosh.
そこのドローミ
I
が
don't want to
何
talk
か
to
知っているかもしれん。
I don't trust him.
そやつもその頃すでに我らと生活を共にし、その騒動を生き延びた一人だ。それにそやつはあの時、最もイグニスから近い場所にいたはずだが。
With this unexpected remark, everyone pointed their eyes to Dromi.
あ、いや、確かに、そりゃそうっすけど。でも、なんもわかんないっすよ。俺、あの時、ビビってすっ転んで、そのまま気絶してただけだし。
ガキの頃からとことん使えねえな、てめえは。
ひどい存在を全否定されてる気分っす。
As Dromi sat there flummoxed, Mr. Rindo continued with his own question.
ビニトルの中に過去イグニスと同じような暴走をした個体は、例えば遠い先祖とか何か心当たりはありませんか？
先祖か。ビニトルの祖となった魔獣は他とは比にならぬ強い力を持っていた。世代を重ねるごとにそれも中身が薄らいでしまっていてな。
Oops. The man closed his eyes, conveying to the group that it was time we took our leave. Whew. You know what? It might be time for me to take my leave as well. It is now midnight. I'm getting kind of worn out. So I think I should probably call it here since this is a decent stopping point. Go ahead and make a save file. Boom. Da-dun, da-dun. Well, alright. I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I'm going to wind down for tonight because I'm quite tired. What is today? What is today? Today is Tuesday. Today is indeed Tuesday. So yeah, we'll be back together on Saturday. We're gonna do more of this, and hopefully we'll finish up Ignis's route, and we'll get started on Eel's route. And finish that up so we can get the Miser's route slowly but steadily. We're going to get through this. I'm quite excited. I'm ready to get on Miser's route, but we still got a ways to go, so we should enjoy the others while we can. Oh my gosh, I can't think of what else. Anyway, so yes, this coming Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Central, we'll be continuing more of Cafe Enchante, specifically Ignis's route. We'll pick up from right here and continue forth from there. My schedule is on my Twitter, and my pinned tweet on my Twitter as well, which is linked below if you want to follow me on there. I post when I'm going live, and I also have my schedule, and sometimes I'll post some other stuff. I've been working on trying to get on posting stuff and being good about that. But other than that, I can't think of what else to talk about. So I guess you know what? You know what we could do? We could go see anyone's still on at midnight. Nope, nobody's on at midnight. Let's go see if anybody's streaming an Otome game. Nope, just me, huh? It is a quiet Tuesday night. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and just end it here then. So, thank you everyone for coming to hang out tonight. I hope you had a good time and have a good night. And I will see you guys on Saturday. So, until then, bye bye.